there's more and more people saying wrestling brain. You know there's more and more people saying wrestling brain. God damn, everybody. It's the year-end show. One of the most fun streams of the year. We're here. It's me, Uturusinza, Josh Custodio, with a new duo. I don't think a combination ever done before on the channel. We've been before
First time.
with Slack, of course, and on the preview shows with many talking heads. But tonight, it's just me and the esteemed, the talent on the channel. Let's call it as it is. Bobby Burrito's in the house. Bobby, how are you this evening, my friend?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to go through all these results. I don't know how I got the call, but it's like when the starting quarterback goes down, you just got to take advantage of the option.
Well, I can tell you real quick. Zoob said we have to fire Matt. That's what happened. Zoob just said we have to. There's no way he's taking over. We need to get. Soon he will eclipse us. That we have to cut this off at the head. So that's what happened there.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
I love you, Joshua.
And I love you too. Welcome everybody. One of my favorite streams of the year, like I said, Bobby. No VOD. So you're all here, ready to rock. 15 categories of best worst of the year. As well, Slack will be calling in a little while to give out the WBCW Wrestler of the Year that you all voted on. As well, the Zoobs will be calling in right at the end of the show for the Stu Hart Award, giving out the award for the Best Canadian Wrestler of the Year. And we got some esteemed Canadian media weighing in on that this year, not just us. But then, for the real heads, at the very end of the show, we'll go through our Twitch stats. We'll give you our Twitch Wrapped from the streaming side. People like that a lot last year. So lots to look forward to. We'll try to get you out of here, though, not in a super long period of time. You know why? Because I want to go watch the Survivor finale and eat dinner.
That's why we're starting early, right? We're starting early.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's get into it, Bobby. Let's just kick into the first category here. Oh, I know it's almost everybody's already subbed and followed and all that because it's the end of the month. But if for some reason, if you're here for the first time, hit that follow button. If you're here for a repeat visit, please consider a subscription like our pal Kyle Cushman did, subscribing for 30 months. Appreciate that very much, Kyle. Thank you a great deal. Bredrick, first time chatter, our pal Brian is here. Brains in the chat. Let's get louds. Everybody's here. We're ready to rock.
It's the year end.
Brian saying the fits are going hard tonight. Yeah, you're in the good ROH logo hat, Bobby. I love this.
Yeah, this is the only good thing I've ever gotten from ProWrestlingTees.com. It was way too expensive. Oh yeah, it was months, but I got it, and I love it. I wear it all the time.
That's what shipping in Canada is. You just sort of make a deal with the devil. You hit, okay, this is sent, and it will arrive one day. That's
Hopefully.
What's happening here.
Yeah, we're hoping, right?
Best case scenario. What's the first category up tonight, Bobby?
Let's get the slides going. Well, first, we got to say, what's up to Big Mark?
We're going to see lots of pro wrestling, Santa, and Christmas imagery tonight. None better than Big Mark Henry as Santa.
Oh, he should play Santa in real life.
Yeah, that is actually true. Shout out to Brick Mittens, also subscribing for 34 months. Who knew? There's still subs coming in the end of the month. Come on, let's make December the biggest. We love it. Oh, Bobby, promo of the year. Don't you love a good talker in wrestling?
It's probably the best part about wrestling that's not the wrestling.
And in some cases, if a guy can only be great at one, it becomes an interesting discussion. Would you rather be Roddy Piper or, okay, never mind. Moving on. No need to start an argument. Promo of the year. Let's see what the people of the survey said. What are the top 3 answers on the board for promo of the year? Okay, in the bronze spot, we've got CM Punk. His promo on Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre on Raw, March 25th. I think this one went sort of wrestling Twitter viral at the time where it felt like they were all being kind of loose out there. I seem to remember Drew McIntyre actually kind of being the breakout of that segment and what people were talking about, that he almost leveled up, but that's the 3rd spot there. Number 2, Will Ospreay, not just restoring the feeling to AEW, but telling the people he is the feeling, but the people had to give it to number 1 this year. I mean, the most memorable visual of the year, Hangman Page cutting a promo about Swerve Strickland while burning down his childhood home. Bobby, how do you feel about those top 3 answers?
I feel like the Hangman one, it makes sense that would be the one that stuck out the most with people. I don't really think of that as a promo, though. That segment, obviously he says stuff, but it was much more than that. It was like a short film. It was incredible.
It's like kind of cheating. I get what you mean.
Yeah,
it does count for the record, though. It's not no problem with it. But I feel.
But here's my argument: can you remember any of the things he says in it? as I
Yeah,
can't
I
at
think he
all.
probably said, you're a real nasty piece of work, Swerve, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Made some kind of a pun about fire, and then they panned out. But uh, I'm okay with it. I mean, it definitely is a memorable thing. You're never going to forget the feeling you had when they swung the camera around, and it was jarring and it was awesome. The Osprey pick was fun at the time. It definitely, I remember all the people in the Discord saying like, I forgot that, or I didn't think that Osprey could promo, and now he's out here and he's shows up in the US in an English speaking territory, and suddenly he's like a promo guy. This is crazy. So that stuck with me for sure. And I haven't watched a New York show since 2005, so I can't comment on the last one.
That's such a good year to get out of WWE. 2005, because '06 is all right, and then they're off a cliff. It's horrible till 2011. Like '05 it's such a Bobby Burritos ahead of the cusp, sees it all coming style of getting out of New York.
I just didn't
Poor
enjoy it
me is still
anymore.
there in
Yeah.
2017 podcast.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Niblets05 subscribing with Prime, saying it's the most wonderful time of the year. You're damn right. Whoa, I don't miss the pen flip too often.
It's the end of the year. I mean, who cares? All your
Outta gas.
responsibilities are handled.
I feel like I cheat because I like this award show so much. I keep a note in my phone throughout the years of the contenders, so I feel like I always have maybe more specific. Like mine could never win in these things because I feel like what's memorable really helps in these surveys, and these are all a little bit more just like my personal picks, I guess. So
Yeah.
usually we do play the promo here. Unfortunately, we can't because New Japan is so
Litigious.
litigious. This would never survive anywhere if we did. So, Bobby, I'm going to recite my favorite Gabe Kidd promo. If people remember, this one comes from February this year. It's where he spits on Tanahashi, saying that he's basically complaining about all the AEW usage in New Japan. Here's what he has to say. There we go. He holds up the Never Openweight Championship and he goes, I got a question for you rats. I got a question. What has this become? What has this become? A fucking joke, an embarrassment. What? We've got Nick Nemeth, Matt Riddle turning up. We all start wrestling like we're trying to get on main event or superstars. Does the squiggle on the side of this never belt say level up? Am I a dickhead? Am I a dickhead? No, it's a joke. It's a joke. And then what? They send what? They send Jungle Bitch here as well. What? As a punishment? A punishment for who? This is New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tanahashi made as well walk into Tony Khan's office, pull his trousers down, and say, do your worst. It's a fucking embarrassment. Then he spits at Tanahashi and says, did I stay a year and a half for this? Did I lose my head for this? Did I nearly off myself twice for this shit? No way. I used to love this company. I used to love that lion mark. But from the bottom of my heart, and as God is my witness, fuck New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm going to take everything from this company. The War Dogs and me are going to take everything from this company. I'll kill Tsuji. I'll kill Naito. I'll stab Tanahashi just to remind him of his old bitch. I'll kill everyone. And it starts with you, Shingo. And that's him setting up for Shingo for the Never Openweight title.
Unreal.
New York gets bullets.
Yeah.
AEW gets bullets. This is a guy not concerned about his future prospects. I really just thought early in the year, this is a guy so brave and emboldened in his character. He's shooting on New Japan, not shooting, but spitting on New Japan,
Yeah.
WWE, and AEW, looking for no friends here. I love it. Very Eddie Kingston, fire in every direction.
You know, it's funny. More and more, I think that the people that we consider good promos are really just the people who are either smart enough or brave enough to tell the truth.
Or say what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to say or whatever. Like when MJF does it, that's when MJF rules, right? When he crosses that boundary into, is he going to get in trouble for that? Did they approve it? That kind of thing. Almost 100% of the time, that's when someone's delivering the best promo.
Yeah, I really agree. And I thought just even if it's cleared, spitting at Tanahashi feels crazy to me.
Yeah.
And the like you say, just being unafraid of consequence and doing it all in the name of his character. This is a guy who was putting a real voice to the fans in New Japan. Who it was happening in the Wrestling Brain Discord. You saw it where it's like,
Yeah.
"Oy, this New Japan America pay per view. You got Nick Nemeth and Dolph challenging for titles. Like, Mamma Mia."
Yeah, him specifically, I think that out of all the stuff in that, the part that is the most cutting to me is calling out Nick Nemeth, because it's like, what did he do? He didn't do anything.
I think this guy is allowed to wrestle here.
I agree with him, but it's just like,
I agree with all of it, dude.
yeah,
Juggle bit,
100%.
come in.
100%.
He said here as a punishment. What are we? We're the jail for their broken toys. Like the whole promo is not only well delivered, has spitting at Tanahashi. It's rooted in truth. The easy promo of the year for me. I don't think anything was getting close this year, frankly.
It's a great pick. I don't know why, but I think it was the atmosphere and just the feeling of like how much excitement it brought on. But I couldn't think of anything better this year for me than Bryan Danielson in Cardiff, the Dynamite right before All In, where he said, I'm the best. What is he? I'm the best fucking wrestler in the world. After he hits the Busaiko knee on Swerve, it was. I just remember like jumping out of my skin at it, like just feeling
that was
so
an unbelievable
charged.
moment.
And the crowd was so amazing for that show. Do you remember they put Big Bill over big time?
He got that. Big Bill and Jeff Jarrett both on that show in the Collision from that Saturday have like personalized chants from that crowd. It's crazy.
Yeah, they loved them. And man, just I think your pick is a superior pick, but that one was just my emotional choice.
Yeah, like you say, all subjective. And
sure.
Memorable does account for something. There wasn't one entry for this Gabe Kidd promo, so maybe if nobody remembers it, is it that good? So there's a discussion to be had there. These are all just my picks, right?
Yeah.
Let's head on to the next slide here, Bobby. Wow, off to a rousing start. Oh, feud of the year. When two people square off and they've got a problem, sometimes it stretches over a couple pay-per-views and the score must be settled, Bobby. Who are the three answers from the people? In the third spot, Bloodline Civil War, you sickos.
Yeah.
In the number 2 spot, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. I can actually hear that out because Drew McIntyre's never had a good feud before, and it seems like he actually cut through, and I like the match that ended it all, so I can hear that out.
Yep.
And in the top spot, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. I think most people who are paying attention closely to AEW this year, this was a very popular pick for. I would say this is one of the core feuds of this federation. How do these three hit your ears, Bobby?
The third one, I'm kind of shocked by, to be honest. I know obviously lots of people watch that product and everything, but there's so many zeros involved in
yeah, obviously
in it. Like it would be one thing if you said like Roman Reigns versus Cody or something, right? Like they're the two top stars, that makes sense. But like I just don't know how anyone could possibly care which side Tama Tonga's on or what. Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, and like Solo Sikoa feels like nothing compared to Roman. And like I went to the Survivor Series show, right? And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
the crowd's here for Jacob Fatu. They're here for Roman Reigns. But like you say, they're not here for a lot of these guys. They're here for the Yeet Uso.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, those guys, I don't know, 2 hours of actual New York pay-per-view I watched the first day of WrestleMania, like kind of in the background when a friend of mine was over who wanted to watch it.
And you were covering one eye. You weren't really looking at it.
No, I was like cooking and stuff. Like I was taking care of the house stuff while there was some people watching it. I really wasn't paying attention to it at all. I sat down to watch one match, and it was the Usos facing each other. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
It was really bad.
Rancid.
It was really bad.
Just dog shit. So I don't know.
That was really, really bad. It does need to be said, though, and I know this won't be popular amongst our viewers. WWE had a really hot year, and this survey goes beyond the normal wrestling viewing audience, and that's reflected. If you go back and watch years past, this wasn't the year with the most votes, and WWE still had a stronger presence than bigger years. So it's I get it. And I actually think the McIntyre Punk one is a totally fair one. The only one I was like, what? Bloodline was your favorite feud of the year?
It sounds like to me like
in here. Double X307 saying, how can it be feud of the year? They're only in the 5th inning. Yeah, fair enough. Port Penderloin voted for Mickey and Grave Robber. Nothing wrong with that. And our pal Sludge Williams saying Bloodline Civil War was his answer, but because it was cinema. So that's good enough for Thomas, good enough for us, of course. What did I say here, Bobby?
Let's see what you said.
Oh,
I
Game
figured
Changer Wrestling on the board.
you were gonna pick this one. Yeah.
Bobby, it could certainly be said of me that I am a massive sucker for a good independent feud. I feel like I don't know how we don't get more of them. I suppose I know you don't have contracted talent very often, but it feels
Yeah.
like the malleability of schedule should make it maybe easier and even across promotions to do. But that's a different discussion. Seeing an independent say, we're going to put our belt on this guy and we're going to give him just a monster feud with another one of our top guys that is going to be the company focus for a couple months. It was outright refreshing for me, man. It
Yeah.
refreshed my interest, not in GCW. I was interested in GCW, but the indies, I was like, oh, this can still be done. Like, I don't know if this is Mance and Effie booking it. I sort of suspect it is for whatever reason. I don't think it's some, Lauderdale sitting down on a Sunday night with a cigarette banging this out on a typewriter. But the way that they have done, this is a genuine long-term story, not a forced one. The Second Gear crew, Effie, Mance Warner, and Matt Justice, is years ago. Matt
Yeah.
Justice gets injured and they play it off as if Mance did it. That kicks this all off. He breaks off the Second Gear crew. You want to talk third inning, fourth inning? We joke about it, but this has seeds and actual pieces to play with. And now Ali Catch turning on Effie is only another. There is a universe that is existing now. They've bled it in too much with the Cardona and the Deathmatch royalty stuff. I'm excusing that as I talk about it as my feud of the year. But when it's in that pocket of lots of changing dynamic, all built around this ultimate blood feud that you get to main event tournament of survival in a cage match, I just really was electrified by it. And is it a grading on a curve thing to some degree because it's the only thing like this on the indies that I've seen in the last little while. I'm open to that idea, but I actually think that specifically Mance Warner's performances on the mic and then their chemistry and ring after being tag partners for so long, leading to good matches, it was really a no-brainer for me at the end of the year. Effie, that's my Mance Warner. Coming for you, Effie. I heard that guy say Effie's name a lot this year.
Yeah. It was central to the feud, right? You had to say his name a lot.
Effie. He couldn't get enough. I can't get enough.
Yeah, apparently.
I really
yeah.
think this was a Mance Warner breakout year as well, and
I think that's
it's
definitely
largely this
true.
Hit the pay window. You're right, Matty Mac. Light beers and lariats.
That's right.
Some guys they want to do flips. I can't do a flip.
he really is just
that
Dax.
could have been my promo of the year. The wrestler admitting it's not that he doesn't, he's like against it spiritually. He can't. He's physically limited.
It's a non-starter. He can't do it. You doing the impression and saying that line really made me think like, oh, he's just Dax Harwood, but he drinks beer instead of tequila or whatever.
Most of his promos are very reminiscent of FTR, no flips, just fists, with a, like you say, stone cold, I'm pissed off delivery. Winning formula.
Good formula, yeah, exactly.
You just start saying what? Oh, is LA Knight doing that? Anyway.
Well,
my feud of the year, Effie versus Mance Warner. Nice work, gentlemen. Up next.
I had Swerve Hangman. It was the obvious choice.
Oh. Yeah. Anything you want to say about that feud, Bobby? Because I mean, God, it was so great.
I think the main takeaway that I have from it is that AEW often like slow plays stuff to a point where it can almost be irritating, but they don't want to rush anything ever, and it's like their mantra that they don't rush stuff. And the pacing of that feud in the middle of it sometimes felt like, are they going to get to the fireworks factory kind of thing? But it was, in retrospect, it was perfect. It was so well laid out, and so like it was drawn to its maximum effect without drawing it any further than that, so all the props.
Would you say Halsey had that feel of the guys are involved in booking this? Like, I actually think I'm very Fergie pilled here. Fergie put this idea in my brain, and I agree with it. I think Hangman probably pays attention to details more than most of the people on the roster, and in his feuds wants there to be incremental growth or incremental change, and I thought that they did that very nicely. And now even the fallout of it, he's been driven mad not because he lost to Swerve, but that Swerve's being received as this big baby face. Like, does no one remember what this guy has done to me?
Yeah. Hangman definitely comes across as like a guy who was sometimes an English teacher or something, because it's very literary the way that he goes through a feud in a good way. He seems to understand.
I like that sort of approach, or like how Bret Hart. I love what he says this, that the first time he saw Mick Foley, he was like, "Oh, I don't know, this stunt man. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do here." And then he's like, this guy saw matches like a movie, just like I did. He could see it like a movie. And so the different ways people communicate through that is really cool. Frederick
Yeah.
saying Josh is right, Fergie's right. Yeah, often just copying Fergie's opinions is a good way to be correct.
And to get over in wrestling.
And to get over in wrestling. There's no doubt about it. Most improved wrestler. This is always an interesting category for me, Bobby, because it can almost be a backhanded compliment. It can be insulting. It's almost never anybody at the top of the card, which I think is interesting. And I don't know. I don't even remember who I put, but I feel like people are hesitant to put top of card people as most improved, even though I feel like people with championships who are at the top of the card are often doing the most improving. So let's see what the people said. Maybe I'm wrong. In the third spot, Braun Breaker. I can't really speak to that. I did think he was probably my favorite guy I saw at the Survivor Series, though. I thought he was very aggressive.
That doesn't surprise me. Out of their roster, he would be the guy who speaks to you for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really know. He wrestles recklessly. I didn't know that. He took this like chest bump into an announce table from the apron. I was like, why, dude? Like at full sprint. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're like a blue
And you know
chipper.
me, I come alive for that stuff. If you're like bumping way harder than you need to, because there's this thing, everybody says like business brain now in wrestling. It drives me insane. It's like, oh, the bump card. You know what's the problem? Shut the fuck up. Like
Yeah.
I'm way more adored to the Darby Allin. I'm not saying Braun Breaker's like on the level
sure,
of Darby
yeah.
Allin, but he took one bump at least where I was like, you don't got to be doing that, man.
Imagine paying $350 to go to an abysmal show and then being mad that the one guy who took a bump shouldn't have. Like,
It's so
get out of
crazy.
here.
It's so crazy. Oh, he's gonna have a short career. It's like, oh yeah, okay, all right,
Cool.
that's good. Two spot Wheeler Yuta. I don't know that I really saw that, to be honest. I suppose he's evolving.
I think
And number one spot, Anna Jay. Sometimes stuff is just true because it's said, I guess. I feel like I'm blind to some of the massive Anna Jay improvements that everybody else is seeing, but that's all right.
I think she's a lot better. I don't know. I think that she is eligible for most improved wrestler because she's starting from basically the worst wrestler. So if she even becomes like a remotely average, I thought the match last night with Mercedes was pretty good. Like she still looked awkward and
A 600-pound guy losing weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's stuff to be done, and she did it, a little bit. So I get that. With Wheeler, I don't think he improved at all as a wrestler, but I do think
I'm kind of with you.
I think he's gotten better at the character stuff. Like I think he got to have his moment where he was the central figure, kind of in the Danielson Mox feud, and he did it adequately. I mean, he didn't say much, but his kind of body language and stuff was good. I don't think he brought that down at all. I think he was able to carry the bit of a burden that they gave him in that with the very best people. Like we're talking Brian, Mox, Claudio. He made it interesting. He did his best for that. So I think if you're talking about overall package of a wrestler, he did improve, but his actual wrestling, I don't think has changed at all, really.
Yeah, I think I largely agree with that. I agree with what RL does say here, though, which is maybe the main reason he got some votes. Yuta took a step in terms of how he's perceived. Fans chant "fuck you, Yuta" during all the Death Rider segments. He's a focus. That's true, and he was the guy. They gave him that. He actually made a choice. They made him choose to go after Brian. So, but it seems more booking to me than his improvement. But I don't know. Rick Nash tag saying Yuta wasn't even the most improved in his faction. Who does he think? Claudio, maybe?
Maybe Marina.
Oh yeah, Marina, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I probably agree with that, Rick. Who did I say, Bobby? Let's see. A surprise to us all. I don't remember. Oh, Aaron Henare. Yeah, of course.
That's such a good pick. Oh my God, that's such a good pick.
It's sort of hypocritical after being like, oh, no one ever does top of card guys to pick a former never champ. But I can't think of somebody who last year, if you're like, oh, do you want to watch a Henare singles match? Especially when a lot of New Japan are downloads the next day for me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if he's got a great opponent, I might check it out. I don't care who he's wrestling. This guy is like, he might be the shit-eating wild man of Earth right now. He wrestles so hard, dude.
I know.
This guy got a face tattoo and it changed his fighting spirit. He feels like a completely different wrestler to me in the ring than he wants. Like, I don't even mean that, like, no hyperbole. He feels like a completely different wrestler to me than who he used to feel like.
Yeah, he was an awkward, kind of almost bumbling guy before. The face tattoo thing is interesting too because he really. I read a thing where he was talking about it, and he like basically had no firsthand experience with his own culture, and then he went back to
Yeah.
New Zealand, got the face tattoo. They gave him his like indigenous name, which he never had, and then he like connected with a bunch of family and stuff. And he
So
said
cool.
when he came back, he's just like, I'm a different person now. And somehow that made him into, I don't know, like Bruiser Brody or something in the ring. It's amazing.
That is, I'm so glad you brought that up because that only makes it cooler. Marlon Phillips is 100% right when he says we all laughed at the tattoo during Wrestle Kingdom. Guilty. I did. I was like, I don't know about this. He is transformed to me. He's one of my favorite guys to watch on New Japan in singles right now. And him and Gabe Kidd are bringing a recklessness to the house style of New Japan that suits me fine.
Was the turning point for you the War Dogs cage match?
I mean, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
do you know how many guys get over in that match?
Do you know how many guys' careers ended in that match?
Yeah, that match is history. It is, yeah.
I think two
Yeah, I
guys'
like it.
careers ended in that match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, dude.
That's
And
unbelievable.
somebody had to take. Is it anyway? I don't want to make up, but somebody like 4 guys are off, 2 guys are off forever. Like,
Yeah, I think
that
Finley
match is-
Finley broke his leg or something, got hurt really bad, but he's obviously back. And Alex Coughlin and somebody else, I don't know, but it was just a mess, but in the best possible way.
yeah, a brawl for all in the real way. Okay, up next here. Congrats to the winners, most improved wrestlers, and the WWE Studios album, The Cena That Stole Christmas.
I had just before we move on, I had Bolton Oleg down.
Oh, that's a fun pick.
He debuted in 2023, so
I didn't realize that.
yeah, he had a lot to like. Basically, he went from being a guy who I would never, like you were saying about Henare, like I wouldn't ever seek out one of his matches. I didn't even know what one of his matches looked like, really.
Yeah.
To the G1, I was like, I just like this guy. He's cool. He's not like perfect or anything, but I think he's cool.
I'm right there with you. And yeah, it's so encouraging, these lower card names of New Japan both being people that cross our tongues for this. Signs of good years to come.
Yeah, my like B and C pick were Yuya and Oiwa, so it's all in the same.
All in the house.
Yeah.
Goddamn, Matty Mac is so smart, pointing out from Young Lion to G1 in 1 year. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I'm sure it's been done before. I don't want to say never, but that's the best way you could put it. That's really well put by Matty Mac. Double Hex positing, if Henare ever gets off, I wonder who loses his powers. Yeah, he's one of those guys who holds it in. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Best title reign. I actually found this to be a very difficult one this year.
Me
That's
too.
reflected in the voting. Answers all over the place. I don't know who to blame for that, but it's usually the opposite. Usually the first one is like the dominant winner, and then 2 and 3 are sort of just like smattering picks.
Mhm.
And there wasn't like a cut above the rest winner here. I remember that. But let's see who did come in top 3. In number 3, Zack Sabre Jr., the IWGP heavyweight title. I just don't think he had it long enough for me, but I like him. He had a great year.
Yeah, I think he's had 2 defenses maybe. So
yeah, he wins it at Power Struggle off of Naito. Is that September?
Yeah, and then I think he defended it against Shingo, right? And maybe that's it.
I think that's it. I mean, maybe some Road to defenses or something.
Yeah,
I never watched, but I think maybe people thought his year, because the Bryan matches and the all-in appearance in the Gauntlet that I thought was so much fun. Young Punks, grow old. All right. Swerve Strickland. I think if you're going to pick an AEW guy, this is the direction you go, right?
Not for me, actually. I picked Danielson.
That's I like that. If I would have gone with an AEW guy, I would have gone Danielson.
It was only 48 days, but I think it was amazing what he packed in there, and just getting his name on the list of holders of that belt, getting Nigel his flowers. The Jack Perry match at All Out is whatever. The match where he wins it at All In is an all-timer. The moment is amazing, and the Mox drop and the plastic bag and everything is just, all of that stuff was done in 48 days. Unbelievable.
I feel.
Oh, and Okada, 31-minute match against Okada.
I feel silly forgetting about like some of that is really you make a strong case for him. On top of that, Bobby, part of a title reign is how you lose it. Is somebody getting over?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? You look at these schmucks, the Undertaker and Triple H and guys like this, like, oh, you go out on your back looking out at the lights. Go to cage match. See if either of those guys lost their last match. I'll
Yeah.
spoil it for you. They didn't. They went out 1, 2, 3. Woo! I'm the man. Woohoo! Riding off into the sunset. Sorry, AJ Styles. Sorry, Batista. It's me. I'm the man. Bryan Danielson went out. Now, no one actually thinks he's retired, but stipulating retirement,
Mhm.
and let his best friend put a bag over his head after a devastating pin in his home state.
Yeah.
That's the man.
With his little protege guy there egging him on.
In front of him.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, perfectly said. Sludge Williams saying Shinya Aoki's KOD reign. I know I'm an idiot for not watching that because I love Shinya Aoki. I don't know him as a pro wrestler. He's one of my favorite MMA grapplers ever. Yeah, I watched the one match you put in on Sludge Tube, Thomas, and I thought it was great. I know that's a treasure trove for me. One day I'm gonna go watch the KOD Shinya Aoki reign, and I bet I'm gonna go. Is he like a shit heel? Is he being like a mean guy in there, Thomas? Because I bet you could be very right. What did I say here? Oh wait, sorry. Number one, Gunther. I thought this was the IC title. It's not. Glad I looked this up. It's the other world championship.
Yeah.
In New
The
York.
sort of fake big gold that they have now.
Yeah, I really hate the looks of that belt. I gotta say.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, I like the
You
fact
can't
that
do big gold and put a logo in the middle.
yeah, like I like that they're referencing something from the past because they don't do that at all anymore. But they made it way uglier, so it doesn't really help.
Woo, hey, great work, guys. But I have no doubt that Gunther's put on probably reliable, good matches. His presentation seems really dialed in as a champion. He seems like a champion even when he's not holding belts. I'm familiar with him as WXW and NXT UK champion. He was always good in those roles. So I have no doubt that that's probably true.
Yeah, and if you think about that belt, it's the belt that exists for the Seth Rollins of the world, and it's like, well, I'd rather have Gunther holding it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Sick Nick putting it real well. Looks like a New York zit on Big Gold. That's exactly right, Sick Nick.
Yeah. Let's see what you
Who
said.
did I say? I almost called you slack.
Compliment.
Timeless Tony Storm for me.
Yeah.
I think Tony's abilities this year surprised me. I was not a fan of the early Timeless Tony Storm matches. I thought the gimmick probably had limited legs to what she'd be able to do with it. And instead, I will never let this fact die. The division before this recent Tony Storm title reign and the division after it are two different places. She's what, and this will sound crazy now, but when Saraya signed, people were like, oh, Saraya can maybe change the game here.
Yeah.
Okay, put the belt back on Hikaru Shida. We can change this division. Oh, Britt Baker's star power. We can change. None of them did it. None of them could do it.
Yep.
Who did it was this offbeat weirdo Tony Storm playing a starlet from early Hollywood and managing to hone it in with RJ City and find a way to marry the rock star moveset and get Mariah May over in the process, who I had never even heard of at the beginning of the year. So I really think Tony Storm did work this year on that belt and division and is my best title reign.
Yeah, I can totally. I think that all the points you made come up in other answers for me to other questions. The actual title reign, my only hesitation for choosing it was that I didn't really think there was many, if any, good matches besides Mariah. So that was kind of like what you said was a lot of it was her not really wrestling because of the timeless thing.
100%. I feel like there's one in there that I like, but I can't think of it off the tip of my tongue. But the point is definitely true, and I outright didn't like some of the stuff in the beginning. But I almost feel like that's not part of what I liked about the reign, but part of what impressed me about her was she was clearly finding it as she was out there. And you saw her eventually ascend and she's over and people know all the timeless stuff. And that character is over. And now she gets to play with that going between that and Rockstar. And we're all in the Discord. Oh, could she do a third character? And it's, I just find all of that really, really good.
Yeah. Anything she does, I'm tuning in for. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Speaking of the Wrestling Brain Discord, I will let people know patreon.com/J0SHC. That's where you can get into that Discord. $5 a month gets you in there. You can talk to Bobby and myself, a bunch of the people on the channel all day about wrestling, all sorts of other things. If you like the chat here, there's a chance that you would probably greatly enjoy your time in the Discord. That $5 also gets you all of the solo content I do back there, including this Monday in the Meltdown spot, 7 in the West, 10 in the East, behind the paywall, because we're taking next week off here on the channel. There's the Christmas special. Bobby, myself, and Marlon, the original Swagman Phillips, watching through a ton of Christmas wrestling clips. We had a fun time with that, didn't we, Bobby?
Oh, it was incredible. What a way to spend I think it was a Tuesday night. Incredible.
It was such a blast. I agree. You can get that Monday night. You'll be like, oh, I want to watch WBCW. You can't, but you can still get a little dose of Bobby and I. So that'll be behind there. Get in the Discord, all that good stuff. All right, let's get to this next category here, Bobby. And we just got to say, thank you to Bobby Burritos. If there was a contributor of the year on the channel, I mean, what a wonderful, amazing addition you've been, Bobby. It's so cool. Everything's better because you're a part of it. Thank you so much.
It's my favorite part of my, creative output is being able to make stuff for this. Every single time that there's just a weird little turn of phrase or something like that, it's just fun to go run and draw something.
Well, you're incredible at it, and everybody sees how great you are and everything that you bring to the channel. So thank you very much. Let's put it this way. They can tell what you design and what I design. Looking at this slideshow, this one's definitely a Bobby. I think everybody knows it.
It's got my fingerprints.
Match of the year. This is a huge one. Oh my God. What is match of the year? What are the top 3? What did the people say? Bobby wants that goop, says the chat. Hard to disagree with that. Top 3 matches of the year, according to you. In the 3 spot, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Hell in a Cell. You haven't watched a match from New York since 05, right, Bobby?
I've seen a couple after the fact, and I did see 2 matches from WrestleMania this year.
Okay, right, of course.
But yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, assume I haven't seen anything.
I did enjoy this match. I didn't enjoy it as much as the cage match right after it, but CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, I thought they did a good job. I did watch this one it felt like a feud blow off in a way that's really satisfying, where the guys are putting a lot of effort into making it look like they actually can't wait to kill each other. And it's a thing that a lot of wrestlers actually struggle with. The bell rings, and sometimes they'll do the hockey fight spot to open up to imply that. But that actual feeling of intensity and you hate each other is super valuable and not the most easy thing for 2 people to manifest. And I thought those 2 guys did really do it. Again, I'm going to credit CM Punk for that because I've never really enjoyed anything Drew McIntyre did, except for this one NXT house show I went to once where he entered. I was like, that's a huge guy. Oh my God.
So walking was what he did. That was good.
Well, entering, walking.
Yeah.
The gym. He does the gym good.
There's a famous Noel Gallagher quote if you ever get a chance to watch the Oasis music videos, DVD or whatever they put out years ago, he does commentary on it, and he's talking about whatever just random B-roll that's in this music video, and there's the whole band walking up a hill and then walking down it, and he's like, if you ever need 4 guys to walk somewhere, we're your guys. We got that part locked down. So Drew McIntyre is basically the same thing.
If we ever need 4 guys to walk somewhere,
yeah,
we've got that locked down. I really like that. The chat bringing up the Sting tag match. That was definitely the 4th place here as well. Let's talk a little bit about the second one here. Hangman Page versus Strickland, their unsanctioned lights out match. I think we both loved that match. I thought that they harnessed a dark energy in that match. I felt like it had a heaviness to it that, again, is also not easy to manifest in wrestling. You liked this one, yeah, Bobby?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That whole show was just nasty, menacing vibes in a great way. Yeah, I loved this match. I thought it was one of the great blow-offs of all time. I thought Swerve is the coolest guy in the world for just being like, yeah, do that stuff to me. It shows you how much he loves this. It shows you how much he genuinely loves his fans and wants them to have something special. That said, for me, it's not really a match. Kind of it's not what I think of when I think of a match.
I know what you mean.
It wasn't a wrestling match. It was awesome, but it was just like a car crash.
You wouldn't, if somebody's like, oh, show me some wrestling, it isn't one you'd necessarily throw on to represent what you like about wrestling, but it was awesome.
Oh, it was amazing, yeah.
And then the top spot, Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. This was the clear winner. This might have been we'll see if one comes up that I cross, but I'm pretty sure this was the most clear number one spot of anything on the poll tonight. And why not? The nicest thing you can say about this match is it lived up to being Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know that I would pick it as either Will Ospreay or Bryan Danielson's best match of the year, but it was great.
It's my favorite Ospreay match. I like it more than Ospreay Takeshita, which I think is the other. I thought there was no way it would be better than Ospreay Takeshita for me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I remember I haven't rewatched either of them. I'll
Yeah.
do that over Christmas week probably. But I remember thinking, oh, I actually do like it better than Takeshita and Bryan. But yeah, really amazing match.
I'll have to watch it again. I'll have to watch both again because Ospreay Takeshita is the one that sticks out more in my mind. Like that top rope brainbuster onto the buckle spot where Ospreay had that gigantic like red welt on his back after it just blew me away. I couldn't believe how good it was in the moment. It's possible that I watch him again and I have the opposite feeling though.
Sludge Williams shouting out ZSJ Danielson. Which one? This year would be the Japan one. Yeah, I love
the Japan one.
match,
Yeah,
dude. I like that match more than the ZSJ Hechicero 2 out of 3 falls, which I know is a very popular one in the Discord. I love that ZSJ Bryan. Is it New Beginnings? No, it's after that. New Beginnings later. Anyway, I love that match. Rick Nashtag saying Kingston Danielson. Yeah, man, that was an awesome match too. I feel like that people have almost Eddie almost feels like he wasn't here this year.
Yeah, you kind of retconned it out of your mind. Yeah,
1,000,000%. Culture of Losing saying Ospreay swerve, but my memory is garbage. It's hard, man. You see so much good stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. I think we all feel that. Oh, it was New Beginning. Hey,
there you go.
Take back when I said I'm probably wrong. What I meant is the old steel trap.
Never wrong.
What did I say here, Bobby? This is my least cultured choice.
Oh yeah, there you go. We just talked about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to give away too much. I kind of felt like nothing was probably going to overtake this year for me. I almost feel like maybe people haven't seen this match or something.
Yeah, I think it's actually that 100% the case. I don't think many people caught it.
This is like not only so brutal and hardcore, it's also what pro wrestling is about. Like you go watch guys get over. It's the farewell to Will Ospreay in New Japan. Gabe Kidd is a madman like you've never seen before. It's just, I don't know. And I didn't even watch it live. I watched it the next day. And like from the Hanare double chair spot, it's just so hard hitting. It's guys going out there to make a statement. It's representative of a lot that I like in pro wrestling. It's historical for ending Alex Coughlin's career. And I don't know. I didn't see anything else this physical this year, frankly.
It's also jarring because it's New Japan that is where this is taking place.
A cage match in New Japan. Also, here are the damn cage match, by the way. You see all these matches together.
No kidding, yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't get away from this one. Torpendoy didn't love it. Yeah, fair enough. Matty Mac saying it's so long. There's no doubt about it. I think you probably I like long wrestling for sure. And I just thought it all felt so reckless and dangerous and hard hitting. And the spirit of guys, again, sorry to be repetitive, but guys trying to go get over. Let's make a statement. Yeah. We're not going to get more minutes with Will Ospreay. This is it. Let's kill him before he leaves. And we're going to kill ourselves in the process. I feel like you just see it all. You just watch that on display in that match.
And the War Dogs definitely like making a statement that they're going to bring something different to New Japan than you ever see in New Japan. Like, hey, here's a bunch of a bunch of foreigners, and we're going to wrestle like we don't work at New Japan, you know? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a fight. Come on. Yo, yeah, strong style, no problem.
Yeah. I had the Hechicero Zack Sabre Jr. 2 out of 3 falls match as mine.
I thought you might.
Yeah, I don't know why, to be honest. I watched
the environment rules for that match.
It's Arena Mexico for sure is a huge part of it. I turned that thing on, instantly got goosebumps, and they didn't go away for the entire thing. I was biting on everything. I felt more invested emotionally in that match than any match I watched this year, and I didn't even see a single promo or any reason why they were even facing each other. It didn't matter.
Sometimes it just works, and styles do make fights. So when your brain hears Hechicero Zack Sabre Jr., the story's alive in your brain. These guys as characters are living stories. They're characters in the pro wrestling universe, right? This is why the idea that there has to be, oh, these guys are, oh, you stepped on my toe, and these are alive. If they're good, they're alive characters interacting with each other, and that's all it really is. And I think that's just a really great example of it.
Yeah,
Matty Mac with Takeshita Uemura. I love that match. That's my G1 match, even more than the Goto one. Happy to see that. I think Goto Takeshita got a couple votes in the end of the year.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for Goto.
Anyway, year of the cage match. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year. I love this one, Bobby, because this category is one people always like to ask me, well, what does breakthrough mean? And I say, I will not
Yeah.
give any more information.
Not going to color
In the
your...
answer is the inference, and it's interesting. I want people's personal relationship. Who broke through? Who was the breakthrough wrestler of the year to you? Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for here.
And for the people who, think of it like a business and they only care about the business side of it, that's how they'll interpret it, and that's fine too, right?
Yeah, they can say whoever went, the most up the card, whatever it means to them. I got no problem with any of it. Let's see what the top 3 answers for the people were here, Bobby. In third place, Tiffany Stratton. I can't really comment here. I know she's the Money in the Bank holder.
I don't know. The only time I heard her name this year was when I saw a bad tweet where someone said that Mariah May can't wear pink because that's Tiffany Stratton's thing.
Right. I forgot about that.
I've never even seen a picture of her. No idea.
In the second spot, roar, it's the damn Beast Mortos. Who could possibly complain? It was an awesome year for the Beast Mortos,
Oh,
right?
geez, man. I remember a couple of years ago seeing Black Taurus at the time was like wrestling in TNA, and I remember some people just kind of being like, this is really weird and funny. That was about the extent of it. And then I think it was when he worked one of the ROH pay-per-views. Was it Commander? Where it was him as the base, and there was a luchador flying around.
Commander did the 2 out of 3 falls at Wrestle Dream and the pay-per-view before that. I don't think they did Ring of Honor, but I could be mistaken.
I can't remember who it was, but it was on one of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. He had a match, and I think it was when he debuted the name The Beast Mortos. And I just remember being like, well, everything about this is perfect.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Also, the value of being a pin eater who can stay over in wrestling is magnificent, and Beast Mortos has that in spades.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And Kyle Fletcher in the top spot. I mean, no problem with this. Kyle Fletcher was somebody who I only knew as a one half of Aussie Open last year, and I thought pretty highly of them. But now the idea that you could put him in a tag team seems like it would be underserving him to an enormous degree. Apologies to Mark Davis.
He can't go back, yeah.
No. And he was an extremely popular pick here for Breakthrough Wrestler of the World. So yeah, no problem with the AEW side, and I assume the WWE side. I think she had a big year. I feel like people were talking about her.
Yeah. I mean, the people who watch the show would know, and they're the ones who filled it in. So
exactly right. And shout out to Kyle Fletcher, man, coming alive as a star before our very eyes.
I love the man.
How could you not? And who did I say, Bobby? I was surprised she didn't get more votes here.
This was my pick too. It was not even close to me. I think
she was not represented very popularly in the break. I thought she was kind of like an obvious one.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else who even qualifies, really, at least in terms of how I interpret the question. But
she went from zero to hero, and we all like what she does.
Yeah, I just thought of her as, you know how it is with AEW. They sign people from other feds. They can easily be Camille, right? Like, it happens all the time. Sometimes they hit, most of the time they don't. So I was excited that she was coming from Stardom, but I didn't know a ton about her, and I was, hopeful, but I didn't expect anything. If you told me, like on January 1st of 2024, that she was going to be world champion, it'd be like laugh you out of the room,
I'd Juice Robinson. Who? You?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I know I'm not a Stardom guy. I don't watch Stardom, so I don't know these people. More hip people than me, Thomas and others in the Discord who keep me hip to that world. We're excited about her coming in, and then to go from who is this to, oh yeah, she should dethrone Toni Storm and be the champion is incredible. But I agree with everybody saying Mariah deserves it, or Swagman here saying Mariah deserves it, but I had Fletcher for the reason you said. Yeah, Fletcher is a totally fine pick here.
I think the reason I
Yeah, all these
didn't,
picks are fine, but
yeah,
I was surprised
yeah,
Mariah just in general wasn't more represented in the voting. Is
for
all.
sure, yeah. I think the only reason I didn't think of Fletcher as like the neck and neck running partner with Mariah May there is because I had just decided that he was going to be a top guy within a few years, like a year ago. Like the first time I
Yeah,
really
sure.
saw him on a regular basis in Aussie Open, I was like, well, that guy's world champion in a few years. So it doesn't. He's just doing the thing that you're supposed to do now.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me, but he is doing a good job of it. But yeah, very and he may ultimately go to be the bigger star than Mariah May, but right now I feel it's all about the glamour.
You know.
Keeg 17 was sold after that first shotgun drop kick, and how couldn't you be?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Spot of the year, another one with some vagueness surrounding it, but let's see what they said, Bobby. What were the top 3 spots of the year? In the third spot, Darby Allin going through the glass in the retirement Sting match. Unforgettable moment.
Unbelievable.
Swerve Strickland with the cinder block powerbomb on Hangman Page in the cage match we just covered. And Swerve Strickland brushing off the Vasaiku knee in his match against Danielson. I did absolutely love that moment. Pretty cool to see Swerve getting the top 2 here.
Yeah.
Really in different matches. I really that jumped off the page. It was like, whoa, Swerve Strickland.
I
Uh,
I
any
have
of
to
these superstars?
imagine. Oh, sorry. I was going to say I have to imagine that the syringe and the chair spot from the cage match were somewhat represented here too.
I believe the syringe spot for sure also got some votes.
Yeah. So hell of a year for Swerve.
Is yours
I
represented here?
Yeah. So number 3, the Darby Allin glass spot was mine. I have to admit that it's obviously an incredible spot. It blew me away in the moment. I think I stood up and like walked around the room for a second because it was so unbelievable. And it's similar thing is true for a couple of these other ones too. But I think I also really wanted Sting's last match represented in my ballot, somewhere, and I didn't pick
Yeah,
it for
yeah,
match of the
yeah.
year. So like, okay, well, it was the spot that was the good part.
That meta is real. I get it. Bobby, you, me, and number 3 all on the same page here. I know I said for this one, Darby Allin through the glass. Yeah, the setting of it is just too much for any other thing to overcome for me. Because
Yeah,
you just can't help but let your mind run and be like, okay, backstage, he's like, all right, Sting, here's my gift to you as
yeah,
you go. I'm gonna climb a 10-foot ladder in a
in the ring.
6-foot ring,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna flip through glass that's waiting for me that breaks the fall between me and the floor. And the Stinger's like, "Oh, don't do it, kid." And he's like, "I'm doing it. Oh, don't do it, kid. Don't do it, kid."
yeah.
That whole deal. Yeah, 5 years from now, we're gonna be remembering that spot.
Yeah, I put it on a Darby Allin shirt this year, so that
Yeah,
says it
I own
all.
that shirt.
There you go. Says it all.
It says it all. Sludge Williams saying didn't vote for this, but Danielson yelling to his family as he was getting kicked by Swerve came to his head a couple days ago. That was sick.
That
Culture of
was.
Losing saying I almost put Darby being hung upside down and bled like a deer. That was nuts.
Oh yeah,
Marlon voted for the syringe, and Pacefall saying, "Yeah, man, the sound of Darby going through the glass in person was unreal." Had to put it. That's great, Pace. That's such a good. I was there. My God, what do
unbelievable.
we got up next here, Bobby? I think we only got a couple categories left. I fear.
Yeah, we're flying along.
Slack will get you on deck to present the WBCW Wrestler of the Year after a couple more categories. Then after that, the Zoobs and I will go through the year of the Wrestling Brain channel and give out the Canadian Wrestler of the Year award as voted by the Canadian Wrestling Media. Oh my goodness, Bobby, so much to come here on the year-end show.
We love
Best dressed wrestler. Wow. This I think was the most voted on category. Nobody skipped this one. People were pumped to talk about the best dressed wrestler. Shout out to Maddie Mack, who was the one who suggested putting this in the survey, and I thought it was a great idea. Best dressed wrestler. Who were their top 3, Bobby? Another well-dressed Bobby and Bobby Lashley in the 3rd spot here.
it. Genuinely
Will
shocked.
Ospreay in 2nd spot.
Yeah, that's shocking to me.
But number 1, the CEO Mercedes Moné. How do you feel about these answers, my friend?
I think Lashley makes a lot of sense. Mercedes, obviously, she's got a big gimmick around it. It's she's known for putting the effort in and going, over the top with the gear and even the backstage kind of stuff. I'm totally fine with. Will Ospreay is just it makes no sense to me at all. The guy who
They
dresses
must
like
be his
Assassin's
entrance
Creed,
gear, right?
his entrance gear is the worst part about him. Like, it's the only thing about him I don't like.
I feel like he's extremely hit or miss. He has some good entrance gear.
Yeah, odd choice to me. But, everyone's got different tastes. This is very subjective.
And who did I say here, Bobby?
Mercedes, yeah. Makes sense.
Mercedes Moné.
I had Swerve. I just think Swerve's always like presents himself so amazingly. Probably a little bit partial because he did wear my shirt for like 3 months, so that might be part of it.
I should have
but
put Swerve. I love that shirt, Bobby. What a year for you, man. World champion war shirt you made on television. That happened, dude.
yeah, it was weird. I was in Italy when he debuted it on TV, and I just kept getting screenshots from people.
It's the middle of the damn night. You got a little red wine in the belly. You're going, oh my god, life is good.
Yeah, it was nice. I was at a wedding for two people I love. It was beautiful.
Oh, so good, man. Telling friends you're proud of them is always weird because it feels like almost like you're looking down on them in some way. But that moment you're proud to be a friend. It's like, oh my god, my friends are fucking killing it, dude. Sir Strickland's wearing his shirt.
It was surreal.
The jacket Swerve wore rule 2, says Sick Nick, and that's absolutely true. Be it the big fur ones or although Leo Rush coming for him on the jacket game, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that Pokemon spiky jacket thing.
What's up next here, Bobby? Best Wrestling Federation. Could mean almost anything.
Yeah.
Let's see what they said. Best Wrestling Federation. In third place, New Japan Pro Wrestling. In second place, All Elite Wrestling. And in first place, out of Connecticut, New York. Bobby, let me tell you what I think happened here.
Yeah.
I think AEW fans couldn't put AEW as the best wrestling federation this year. They felt like they couldn't.
I think you probably are onto something there. I don't know if you saw it, but it was yesterday or today. I saw a thread on Blue Sky. Like a bunch of people from the Discord, a bunch of our community folks had interacted with it in some way, which is how I saw it. But it was basically a thread where somebody was saying that AEW doesn't get judged on the same merits as WWE, and that they basically every WWE show is judged as compared to the worst show they ever did. So as long as it's not that, it's fine. And then AEW is judged against like a fake imaginary thing that you have in your head that is the perfect thing. And when they don't achieve perfection, you feel disappointed in them.
That's accurate to me. I don't think I saw that thread, but that feels right to me. Or at least that they're just the most studied, picked apart fed ever. And I say this as a guy who does a review show for them.
Yeah.
But I'm not over with a microscope trying to hate on everything. But I do see how WWE won Best Federation here. I can't pretend. They were the Fed of the Year in like a helicopter view way.
Yeah, they were hot. I think this is maybe anecdotal, but or it's definitely anecdotal because it's just based off my own vibe. But I think that heat is dead now, for the record. I think they're done.
I think Netflix is going to juice them, but I don't think this is like I don't think it's the attitude era in terms of like they're going to have this squeeze out of it for ages.
Yeah, I don't think it sustains like in any meaningful way. I think it ended in, I don't know, March or I should say May or June or something like that. After WrestleMania, I think they just haven't had that cultural zeitgeist anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that if not gone, cooling.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see what I said here. I mean, I know. Yeah, I thought New Japan won me back this year. This one was easy for me. I thought that New Japan has been cold for the last couple of years, and I was waking up again. I cannot wait for Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom in 2 weekends from now. I can't wait for them. Waking up in the middle of the night for Kingdom, watching Dynasty at 8 p.m. in my local time. Like I'm juiced for the whole thing. And I feel like the Uemura and Gabe Kidd breakouts with still hope in Suji, Oiwa on the come up, like you said earlier with Oleg Boltin. It's funny. We all think we're so smart, it's like, oh, I know how it's going. I know what's going on here. And you just have no fucking idea. Like I was like, oh, Suji can save AEW, and maybe like a propping up from Lij and sort of squeezing out that hotness can buy you some time to get up the other guys. Like that's what I probably said on my into a mic somewhere I would have done at some point.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a stupid idea now. Like Gabe Kidd and Uemura are just ascending at a rate that I didn't see coming, and I don't know if the company saw coming, but certainly we're like, we need to buy time until somebody does that. And it's a nice reminder that that's how this works, and we got to see it happen in New Japan. And I'm going to tell you, I hope they're my Fed of the Year next year because I think they're poised for a killer year this year.
Well, they're kicking the year off with a Kenny Omega return, so that's going to help a lot, I think, in terms of their 2025 rankings.
Sludge Williams saying, for some reason, I already see New Japan as the Fed of the Year for 2025. I feel that same energy, Sludge.
Yeah. The guys that are giving that excitement, they're just getting started. So 2025 is going to be huge for them, right?
Exactly. The car is getting going.
I will say,
Nick saying, waking up for Wrestle Kingdom with a friend is the closest thing to sleepovers at this age. It's true. And again, we watch it together in the Discord every year. So if you want somewhere to be, but I'm pumped for this year, like more than the last couple.
For sure.
Rick Nashtek voted for OXT. He wants to see the stars of yesteryear. Understandable.
Yeah.
And Matty Mac saying, we're so back. I feel like next year we're going to be able to say New Japan is back.
I already am saying it. I think the G1 was good. There's nothing in the world more interesting to me than the strong pay-per-views. I think they're always incredible, and
I should have brought that up in my talk here about it being number one. Those killed this year.
And it won't last. I guarantee you that they will screw up the formula somehow, or the formula will move to a different company and they'll be doing it instead. Like we were talking about how those are literally just what Ring of Honor was the year before.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Well, that was your point, and I thought it was really dead on.
But yeah, that's the thing is like the weird mix indie super show thing. It always happens, right? There's always a promotion that does it. New Japan Strong is just where it's happening now. But I love those shows. Like I was saying, I'm gonna fly somewhere to see one this year.
Dude, that's a smart call. Do it before Gabe Kidd drops that strong belt.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let's go on here. Best Wrestling Federation. Congrats to all the feds. Women's Wrestler of the Year. Who did you all say? In third place, you had Mariah May, who, again, I thought had a really good year. I could have put her higher except for the cooling off post Tony Storm and winning the title, but who could possibly argue with her on this list? Mercedes Moné, I was heartened to see do so well and go on here. And in the top spot, Tony Storm. Given that I gave title reign of the year, you can just pull mine up. I don't think it's a spoiler for me to say I also went Tony Storm here, total in lockstep with the chat here. How does this reflect you, Bobby? Anything you want to say about these three, or give your number one?
Mercedes was my number one.
Oh, cool.
And I loved everything Tony did. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to downplay either Tony or Mariah here. I think they're very deserving of votes. Mercedes is pretty much the only wrestler in the world right now that if she's wrestling on a show, I'm going to watch that entire show to see what she does. And I just can't think of anybody else. Like if Mox was wrestling, Mox being my favorite wrestler in the world, like if he's wrestling on one of those New Japan Strong shows against, I don't know, some lower card guy from New Japan or something, I would probably tune in for it, but I wouldn't feel like I was missing out if I didn't see it live. But Mercedes, just evidenced by the show on Sunday, the match with Hazuki. I don't think I've ever seen her wrestle before. Didn't matter. I was going to clear my schedule to watch that show.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and totally makes sense given your love for these New Japan Strong shows this year. Sludge Williams saying Mercedes over Tony in terms of match quality. I agree with that. I thought Mercedes Statlander and all the New Japan Strong appearances and the Willow match were all really strong this year. Again, I just think leaving the division better than you found it is the mark of a great wrestler. And there's so many wrestlers who don't do it. They don't raise the division. They don't make any stars. And you just can't say that about Tony Storm. You benefited from coming into contact with her.
Yeah, and she's going to continue to do it in 2025 for sure. I think she's going to raise, the star of Thunder Rosa again, probably, just as an example.
Yep. I think you're exactly right. Slack saying, I want to be able to see Athena on this list next year. I'm there with you.
Oh,
let's head to the next slide.
Please.
Men's Wrestler of the Year. Who are the top three? In the third spot, Bryan Danielson. In the 2 spot, Swerve Strickland. And in the 1 spot, Will Ospreay. Bobby, I thought kind of tough to argue with any of these 3. These were the very 3 most popular answers. They're very close for who came out for second and third. Had to do some tabulation. Who's your answer, and what do you think of these 3 guys being the who's standing here?
I think there's 2 things. I think one is all deserving, so I won't knock anybody for picking. You could pick Will Ospreay every year, probably until he's in his 50s.
He won last year.
Yeah, it would be totally reasonable. Swerve, I think, was just transcendent all year. He was everything he did new and different and better than I'd ever seen him do it before, and pretty much better than everybody else too. Danielson was my pick just because this was a run like you've never seen from anybody. You'll never see it again. He wrestled every single person that he wanted to. Go back and watch any of them. He's trying to kill himself twice a week. It's unbelievable. But the other take that I have from this, which is just an incredible takeaway to have, is WWE won Federation of the Year. Where are those voters?
Dude, how about that? It tells you everything. I was actually going to make this point about at the end, because they're not. There's other things that you would think, like they weren't in Match, they weren't in the feud. They had the Bloodline one in Punk, but they're not winning first any of it, even though they can take Fed of the Year. So it's all just business and hotness stuff, not the actual product.
It's interesting though, because obviously we're not looking at the individual scorecards or the survey results from each person, but are the people picking WWE as Fed of the Year not filling in the rest of the survey, or is that what's going on?
Who knows, man.
Yeah.
I like all of these answers. I can't argue with any part of it. I wanted so badly to put Gabe Kidd or Darby Allin, but neither actually felt like the guy that I could give it to. But I wanted to make sure that those 2 names got out there, because I really thought Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd were like my sort of, in my heart, favorite wrestlers of the year, like the guys that I just, the whole year, everything they did was money to me. But for myself, the rest of the year category is a little bit more of that. It is whose year was it too, which is why I really like the Bryan Danielson pick here. But I actually went with Swerve Strickland.
The man.
I think this is just what AEW needs to do. They need to pick a guy. I think the guys that they pick sometimes are pretty bad. I don't know how good Tony Khan's talent meter of who to push is right now. The tag division primarily. But with Swerve Strickland, this was a guy who just got it the entire way, grew in a physical sense and a literal sense, but also in a,
did he ever? Yeah.
They always say, oh, the guy makes the belt makes the guy. You want it to be both, and the belt helped Swerve Strickland become a guy. And when I think of this year, it will be the year that Swerve Strickland ascended. And when you talk about the great years of Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, they both had great encounters with Swerve Strickland along the way too, and true of each other too. All these guys, like I said off the top, no argument for any of them, but it was Swerve Strickland's year to me. And Bryan Danielson's absences make it a little trickier too, but I have no problem. The dream run, like you guys point out, is such a huge part of it.
Can't disagree.
Who's up next? The 2 worst categories, and then we'll go to the Slack man for the WBCW Wrestler of the Year. I can't wait to talk a little meltdown with these boys. Worst federation. This is fun. Let's see what the people said. In 3rd place, WWE. In 2nd place, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And in 1st place, the National Wrestling Alliance.
A stinker. It wasn't that good.
Thank you, Marlon.
No, I don't know if there's ever been a better time sound than that. It really wasn't that good for any of these feds. Bobby, I'm going to let you speak here because you're such a smart guy. What does it tell you that AEW is not on the worst federation list, but didn't win best federation, but WWE is on the worst federation list?
Yeah, it's funny that you would think that AEW would be the more polarizing company given the way people talk about them especially on the Brain Dead X website, but just the amount of vitriol that they get out of people, you would think that it would have to be represented here. But I think that tells you that even their haters know that you can't actually say it's a bad company or that they're doing a bad job. So yeah, maybe they're telling on themselves a little bit,
I think they are. And I think it does also lend credence to what I said before, that just a lot of diehard AEW fans who don't like WWE didn't feel comfortable putting AEW in the top spot this year.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of like holding them to account in that too that I like. Like I like when people get mad at Tony Khan on Twitter because the episode of Dynamite sucked, because it always makes him do better. So
Yeah,
I
he
don't
gets fired
mind
up.
that at all.
TNA, it's funny because I think they had a good year by some people's metrics because they had a breakout star in Joe Henry and their houses were better because of the deal with the devil in New York. So, but they're here. And I had to agree because I just, I, I don't think you can do this. They are the cockroach that always survives. But in firing Scott D'Amore this year, which the talent seems to hate, and causing an exodus of your own talent, like, you might be over right now, but what are you thinking? You got Joe Henry, Josh Alexander, Jordan Grace, and somebody else all leaving.
Oh, they're all going to the Fed, or
We don't know. Josh Alexander said, "Well, you're not going to be seeing me here on the Indies anymore." A couple weeks back.
right?
I mean, I don't know that Joe Henry's gone, but he's gone. And yeah, a Speedball. Thank you, Sludge Williams, is
Oh,
the
Speedball,
fourth
that's
guy I'm
right.
thinking of.
Yeah.
That you can't. What are they going to do? Who are they going to? They better hope Nick Gage will sign.
Or I don't even know if that does anything for them. Like you're gonna have to go to the ECW retirement home and see if there's anybody who can still walk. That's pretty much it.
I think they've already done that with Tommy Dreamer. I don't know they have that lever to pull.
I think Bully Ray still works there. I think
You're probably right, for God's sakes. Let's talk a little bit about the NWA. It is funny, man. You can make an honest to goodness argument that no one has done worse since 2018 than since 2020 than the NWA pro wrestling wise. It almost sounds insane. People think I'm crazy. Power wasn't the biggest pro wrestling show going, but it had like a Lucha Underground ish.
Yep.
People are watching this. There's like the real hipsters will tell you, oh, this thing's good, and they had momentum. And then no, like it is insane what's happened, man.
I think I can summarize their year perfectly. The biggest story that I heard about NWA this year was that staff members of NWA were stealing gas from patrons' cars while they were watching shows.
That's cool. That's XBW shit.
That's literally the biggest news story that they had. It's the most PR they had this year. I couldn't tell you who wrestles there or anything at this point. I know the Tyrus retired, so that's our top guy gone.
Original swag guys in the chat pointing out world champion Brodus Clay. Yeah, the 10 pounds of gold under Billy Corgan is what? It's Nick Aldis, which he's not a wrestler for me, but he makes perfect sense as NWA champion.
Yeah.
Dethroned by Cody,
Trevor
back
Murdoch.
on Aldis. Yeah, Trevor Murdoch, Brodus Clay, EC3.
Yeah, I assume he's still champion, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, man. Maddie back saying Camille will be back soon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she might. But yeah, it's a shame, dude, because there's a world where the NWA has an hour show on YouTube that's like my Sunday morning, making a cup of coffee watch for sure. I like studio wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you know a lot more about it than me, but I assume that the Power kind of just fading out was because they parted ways with the guy who created it because he was a creep or something. But
yeah, that's exactly right. I think it was everything at once. Like,
well, they lost name right now. They lost a ton of talent too to AEW, obviously, but
exactly right. Yeah, Starks, Kingston, and Aldis all leave. But
yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to TNA. They're probably on this list every year, going back into infinity.
Yeah. And they will be forever.
I wonder if they've ever been on the best list. Worst wrestler of the year. Let's go. Let's get negative. Let's see what they said. Who do they hate, Bobby? They hate the Nueve, Chris Jericho. They hate Nia Jax. I was like, what? And they hate Tonga
a stinker. It wasn't that good.
There's no comedian on earth that can touch Marlon Phillips with Dutch Mantel at his disposal. It's an unstoppable duo.
I just realized I have to make a Dutch soundboard. Like, remember those like Arnold
Yeah, I would love
Schwarzenegger
that.
ones, like the buttons? Yeah, like
We have to
I
have a lock on it though, because if Matt gets his hands on that, A Double Dudes is ruined. You'll never hear Zooms or I speak again.
yeah, the show's over.
Stinker.
Yeah.
Stinker. It wasn't that. It stinker. That's what Double Dudes will be. They hate Nia Jax and they hate Dongle. That's so funny to me.
Do you think
Yeah,
that
I don't know. This is a weird year for the survey. It's hard for me to figure out. Like it's New York diehards who are also willing to admit that it sucks, I guess.
yeah.
I thought the hubbub was Nia Jax is better now.
Who knows, man? Like I think that the bar for her being improved is like she didn't injure anyone this year.
Yeah, okay. Congratulations, Nia.
Yeah.
Not my choice though, Bobby. This one was a cinch for me.
Oh,
But you got
that's
to put some
right.
effort into it.
That's right. That's right, Eric Bischoff.
You really do. Yeah, you probably all watch Double Dudes. I don't feel a need to expand on this a tremendous amount. I don't like anything he does. He used to at least have okay matches. That's gone.
Yeah. And he makes every segment he's in worse. He makes every guy he's attached to worse. It's just like a drag at this point.
It just is not good. And as much as Tongaloa and Nia Jax are way worse wrestlers than Adam Cole, I don't have to see them all the time. I see Adam Cole.
Yeah.
You know, worst wrestler of the year should actually get Tony Khan here for booking MJF and Adam Cole right on back into that universe. I can't get it, man. I can't. I thought they sent a statement saying we're done with this when they had MJF attack Cole. Like I thought that was, and instead it's like, no.
Yeah,
Here we go.
they did a nice little wrap up to be like, hey, we're not going to leave this hanging. This is it. It's over. I have no idea. And then flipping the alignment is insane too. It just makes no sense.
It's just going to go forever. So yeah, Cole, I thought he looked, sounded, and wrestled awful this year. I thought
Ditto.
didn't like him or anything he was involved in. And it's the easiest thing ever for me to say that I would prefer the show if he was just not a part of the roster.
And although Brody and I, we might be 1-1 right now, but tonight it's me who hold all the cards.
I'm guessing that's Irish Mac saying Ricochet was their pick.
It could absolutely be the case. T-Dill saying gotta give Cole a break. Jaundice is hard to live with. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Jack
Better.
Perry robbed. Yeah, Keeg 17. I can feel that. I'd probably listen. How rare do I say something nice about Jack Perry? I'd probably rather watch Jack Perry wrestle than Adam Cole. And if Jack Perry's babyface, I'd way rather watch him wrestle than Adam Cole.
Jack Perry in Blood and Guts was downright awesome. It was so fun. He was willing to do anything. Like he was set me on fire. I don't care. So I'm not a huge fan of the guy or anything, but he
As a
had that
babyface,
gear.
he can wrestle. I like the Jurassic Park matches. All right. Let's I was trying to not like to pretend it's on accident, but Slack's cracking up and it cracked me.
Yeah, he's in the waiting room and he's losing it.
I couldn't get through that. I'm trying to hide it behind the mic. No smile. See that? I
Yeah.
do that. Sometimes that's the
Yeah.
straight line. All right. I think that's it for the best and worst of categories. So thank you all for voting. And we can just stay on this screen, Bobby. We'll wave you adieu for a few.
Yep.
And bring on my co-host on WBCW Meltdown every week. It's our flagship program here of Wrestling Brain Championship Wrestling, where we run our fake federation and we gamble on the matches, we watch them, we book them, and now we're going to give them an award because we asked the people to vote on who their WBCW Wrestler of the Year is. Slack, how are you, brother?
I'm great. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great.
Wonderful. Excited to be here, enjoying the show. Yes, I thought Jurassic Park was extremely funny. So
WBCW.
Let's go.
woo! Yeah.
Thank you for the sound alerts. Thank
What
you.
a year.
Lauren.
What a year for the WBCW universe, man. It was something else. Like
Talk to me about that, Slack.
the last, I want to say month, maybe, and it's gotten better and better. I think Bobby coming in has made, first of all, there's no other Fire Pro stream with as much effort, as Eric Bischoff would say. Beautiful graphics, replays, gambling, a federation of guys that you can rely on being on the show that have lore, rivalries, history. We got a great chat. Rich Pilati, the god of weed. Oh, come on now.
you're and that's Slack's brainchild. So Slack, thank you so much for bringing WBCW to the table. And I mean, it's like you say, I have nothing really to add. It's just such a hoot, and it's growing, and there's lots of good stuff going on there. So incredible.
Yeah, for those who didn't hear me, I'll just sum it up. Amazing year. Our shit is awesome. It's as good as it gets on Twitch for Fire Pro for wrestling streams. I just think I couldn't be happier with how it's going. I love it. I love every Monday night getting off work, hanging out with all of you. So thank you for watching every week, caring about it. Like I said, I came up with this as an idea. I didn't think even Josh would like it. And then, the Bobby comes on board, and the three of us have our roles and responsibilities and just crank out great stuff every week. We do put a lot of thought and effort into this. So it's not just crank up a video game and see what happens. So, hopefully that shows. And I here's to a bigger 2025, man. I think, sky's the limit for us. It's been a blast for sure.
Couldn't agree more. What a year, what a blast. But it's time, Slack, to hear from the people. I want to know the people who are here. Who did you vote for WBCW Wrestlers of the Year? Because I will tell you who were the top sort of most voted for guys, okay? Mickey Williams,
Wow.
Shinji Kachitoru, Uncle Loudy. Those were your runaway top three. Kev Sell went Adrian York.
Wow.
Corell
Nice.
went Shinji. Albi19 went Shinji. Double X307, Anfield Road went Shinji. Corvax 1266 did go Uncle Loudy. Who would have you guys given? Bobby, let's go to you. Who was your WBCW Wrestler of the Year?
It was Shinji. I think most interesting story. It's just like, as a fan of the business, it's just a fun thing to go through to see the guy that was built up. He's Hiroshi Tanahashi's protege, and he went as bad as you can go bad in this Fed. So it was amazing.
You join up with Daifugo, you are a bad person. There's no other way to put it.
All my homies hate Daifugo.
All
How
the
about you, Slack?
Daifugos.
Who have you given your WBCW Wrestler of the Year to?
Shinji, no doubt. Guy is the best to ever do it, man. We had some really good early runs. Jeff Cobb, Mickey at the beginning. This
Soji
guy
Konda.
Soji Konda, sure. This guy's taken that top of the card to a new level, man. He comes in and it doesn't matter how the match is going, but if that Tiger Bomb comes out and it's over, no one else can have a move where it is over.
I don't
It's
even
awesome.
get it. Like, it makes it question.
I don't either.
How, like, I don't know. It's so cool, and he is, would also be my pick, and is indeed the WBCW Wrestler of the Year. Won in quite a ways. Congratulations to our world champion Shinji Kachitoru. But I just think it's incredible that in 1 year he did the Hulk Hogan. Not like that, but he was the top babyface, big business run, and then the top heel, big business run. And they don't resemble each other. But they are both equally as important. And that's just so incredibly hard to do. And like you said, Slack, the Tiger Bomb is just a moment creator that when he's wrestling, you're like, oh, this is as must see as it could be. Look at him against Fedor this week. Fedor was beating his ass. The sharp money was all in on Fedor. A little Thunder God interference and some double underhooks, and it's game over.
I mean, he's got guys cheating for him. He's cheating for other guys. Which is insane. He's also stealing people's finishers, which the Psycho Clown incident will go down in history as one of the most brutal things we've seen on the show.
That was horrendous. That was tough to see.
Yeah.
Any other memories from WBCW this year? Of course, Grave Robber and Mickey.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I really felt like we were leveling up the show. Josh had a great idea that we cut like a promo like you'd see on a vignette on TV.
A little countdown show.
Yeah, a little countdown show to Grave Robber Mickey Williams. And then obviously back then Grave Robber was unbeatable and felt like he was going to control the company for a long time. And the bad guy we love, Mickey Williams, comes in. And after one bloody brawl, he gets it done, man. It was just very special. So that to me like signified the beginning of, I think, where we are now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had retirements, you've had people exit the roster, and a new crop of people have come in and really really put together some really good stuff for us to build some stories around. So it's been a blast.
Yeah, man. And so many fun moments. The Mr. Ferguson 7 Minutes in Hell
Yep.
forever title run is unforgettable. I have laughed so hard watching people just be sacrificed to our deathmatch king. And the ascent of these new guys. Like I feel like the class of Kidman and York
Yeah.
and Pink Mohawk and that level of guy, they're better than we tried
Yeah.
the Four Bastards thing. These guys just seem to be settling in a more natural way. And it's just really fun planning it with you guys every week. And it's exciting where the Fed's going right now. Like that's the fun part about doing the show is like we're a couple weeks ahead. Like we have to know, we don't know who's winning or losing, but it's like, okay, here's the general idea of this stuff. And it's all really exciting. So
Yes, it
awesome
is.
stuff, Slack. Nimbus 05
blast.
asking, was Sam Bancroft walking away this year? I think the whole show is this year, isn't it?
The first show that I was on was December 13th
Oh,
or
yeah.
something of 2023. So yeah.
I want to say we did like maybe 5-6 months. Oh, August 2023. Okay, there you go, Marlon.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
So
Thanks, Vector.
four-ish months in 2023, and then things really took off this year. I think Neverending Weekend Infinity being kind of our tentpole WrestleMania all-in type show. I think people get that now. They understand it means
Yeah.
more. The King's Crown match. Yeah, just having like all this stuff built in is really it just makes it fun to do. It's never a chore. So I just can't say enough about the show, the audience, and you two. Phenomenal stuff.
The Nui brand is hot, brother. NEWI X7 forever.
One day we're gonna get that neon tie-dye hoodie merch drop, and it's gonna just like break records, I swear.
We're gonna all become millionaires off of it.
That's right.
Slack, we're gonna get you out of here and start going through the channel stats with Zoobs. But again,
Awesome.
man, adding you to the channel was one of the best things anybody's ever done. And you're
Thank
the
you.
man.
And
love you,
going from me to Zoobs is like upgrade of the year. So put that on the category. Enjoy. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon.
Night, Slack.
Yeah, brother.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Zoobs, you can jump into the Discord and join whenever you're ready. Yeah, man. WBCW has been just an unbelievable act.
Will always remember my birthday. I will always remember.
There he is.
My
Hello?
birthday.
Stupid fucking
Oh, Big Brother's in the house. My man, Zoobs, what's that on your chest?
That just
Oh, yeah.
trashed his room.
One. I'm not showing it too much. You can see it. Not that
Back
easy.
like a bad habit.
Back like a bad habit. One of one. Shirt right there.
Look at this guy. It is a fun intro, the back like a bad habit, better than you've ever had it, eh, Zoobs?
Yeah. Little one of one. I got the Bobby Burritos Eddie Kingston shirt. And then I was like, you know what? I'm inspired by Bobby. I was like, this whole thing of just making your own t-shirt. Where's this been my whole life? Brilliant.
Better than you've ever had it. Zoobs, man, 4 years into this.
Crazy. Great show, man. Really great show. Really interesting results. Some great
Yeah, anything
conversation.
you want to weigh in on?
No, I think we'll sort of get to it as we talk about the Stu Hart later on. I think it sort of serves as a jumping off point for the whole year in general and some of the stuff that you touched on tonight. But yeah, as always, great answers from the people, great answers from you. I think a lot of great stuff. In hindsight, really actually a really strong year for wrestling in general, right? Like your points about New Japan being the Fed of the year for yourself and a lot of people, and even that, like the polarity of WWE, of their like it being the top Fed this year and a bottom one, like and AEW, right? As much as it's constantly, you nail it with it being the most analyzed, which is just constantly under the microscope. It's like big picture, I thought it was a lot better than the year before, and I thought the complaints it's like we are getting pretty microscopic into the stuff that's complaints. It is a better show than we've ever had on television at any time. Like
It's a good relationship 5 years in.
for sure. Exactly right. Really well said. But all that added up, it's like, wow, that's actually a really strong year for the business, and that's not mentioning a bunch of stuff that happened. So I feel actually really optimistic this time of year. So
Ooh, I
it
love
feels
that.
good. Yeah, it feels good.
It is interesting how sort of tied together I feel like New Japan and AEW are, just for my personal interest. Like when they're both cooking, it's so good for me feeling like wrestling is good. Like entering Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom season has made me enjoy Dynamite more. I know it because I'm just in a wrestling mood.
Yeah, I wonder how much that AEW sort of plucked the top like 5% from their company. I wonder how much that actually ended up being like a win for New Japan because, like you were saying, the New Japan strong cards are what the ROH cards were,
Mhm.
and I think it sort of is put New Japan in a position that you sort of always have to face at some point, but they had no choice but to face. It was like, we have to start over. We have to find something. We have to do something. And that is, it can be scary, but it's also the environment where people like Gabe Kidd like sees that and go, oh my God, the top of the card is open.
Here
Why
I go.
isn't it me? Why can't it be me? There's nobody in my way. I think it's actually can be a really healthy ecosystem. If you have the structure and the thing in place to get it there. So I think it's really positive. I'm glad to see how excited everybody is about it.
Well, and as usual, you're so right. But even on top of that, it also puts the layer of wrestling is real into it. Once that is this
Sure.
open field, go get it. It's not about winning or losing matches. Go have the matches of your life, cut the best promos you can do, and get over because we're looking for guys to push. Like that makes a Fed interesting to watch in a totally different way than maybe why we would normally approach it. So yeah, totally agree with you there, Zoobs.
Excellent. Anyway,
Let's get to
um,
it.
also a big year for us. Let's do that. Let's do the Wrestling Brain review of
I
reviews.
think I think we're doing Stu Hart first.
Oh, Stu Hart first. Oh,
If the
excellent.
slideshow is correct. Let's see what Bobby hit next here. Let's see.
That makes sense.
No, never mind. We got a
Never
couple
mind.
more questions. We're having you in for these two, and then
Great.
Stu Hart, and then that. So this, of course, was at the end of the survey. As we exit 2024, where is your interest in pro wrestling? Now, this was it made an average, and you can hit the space bar one more time there, Bobby. I think of 7.69, and that's based off of 261 responses, a 7.69 average out of 10. My girlfriend Cass asked me, why'd you do it out of 10? You never do it out of 10. I said, well, I didn't want to answer the question. The survey gets outside the wrestling brain thing.
Right.
A normal person's brain will just melt if they even try. 769 Zoobs, higher or lower than you imagined? Maybe right on.
Interesting. It's one of those things, right? It's sort of similar to the how WWE scores in the overall, but no actual wrestlers. It's like this is a pretty healthy size thing. I think there is a degree of like we're obviously a very AEW focused channel, so that
Mhm.
it is going to be people that like wrestling quite a bit, right? It would be weird to be following AEW and not really like wrestling that much. It wouldn't be that weird to do that with WWE, but it'd be weird to be interacting with an AEW channel. This did break contain to a great degree, as it always does, which is a great testament sort of to your ability to connect and reach with people. But I think this is a good sign. Yeah, I think this is a good sign. I'm actually surprised it's not a little bit higher, given how good New Japan was, and given the heat that WWE seems to have or had. I think Bobby made a good point earlier as well that I don't know that it is what it was WrestleMania season, but we'll see with that Netflix deal.
It was actually a little higher than I was imagining. I thought sort of the cool AEW late summer fall was going to sway this to be a little lower this year. And there were definitely people who did go 5 and 6 as the scale shows. But there were people at 9s and 10s, which maybe I wasn't expecting either. I feel like I'm more into wrestling than lots of people right now. Like I feel so on fire about it right now and just really, really enjoying it. And all that really takes is just being into one or two guys. You need one or two
Yeah,
guys to really, really get you. And I have that right now. And it's nice to be back. I felt like Swerve was the closest thing I had for a little bit, and now Darby Allen. But now I really, in Darby and Gabe Kidd, feel like there's like these hooks to my interest in big ways.
that's good. That's good to hear.
Let's see the next slide here. I think this is the what feds will you watch? Yeah, okay. So I asked people to rank from most hours to least what federations they'll watch this year. So this is sort of another way of understanding who was answering this survey. Do you want to go through Zoobs? Or do you want me to read them?
You go through. This is your part of the show still.
Number 1, AEW. No surprise there, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I would have guessed WWE here, to be honest, but
It raises some interesting questions.
3, WWE, but that's a much closer race than it is from 2 to 1. 4, Game Changer Wrestling, right on. 5, assorted other promotions, not listed here. 6, OXT, where the Stars of Yesteryear wrestle. and 10 laps. TNA can't be more people want to watch OXT than TNA, man. They got Joe Henry there is playing guitar. Order this all look right to you, Zoobs?
For our audience, yeah, it does. For the people that I think are in our sphere, this makes perfect sense to me.
RL, the 7.69 slightly lower than last year, which was an 8.1.
Interesting. Boy, I was more down on the product a year ago at this time than I am now.
Yeah, me too. For both feds, I think.
Yeah.
I'd probably be a low 9 here, like a 9.1 or something, 8.9, 9.1 zone, maybe just a 9.
Sure.
And I think this actually mirrors my exact. No, I'll watch more GCW than WWE. But if you switch to GCW and WWE, I think that's right for me. I'll watch 0 NXT or TNA. What other promotions will I watch? Like live ones.
All Japan? You catching All Japan?
Yeah, I catch a
Stardom?
Miyahara match here and there, I guess. Big Japan with
Stardom?
Bobby here and there.
Big
Yeah.
Japan. Isn't there that other one now?
Yeah, probably.
Maple Leaf Pro.
CMLL.
Oh yeah, Maple Leaf
CMLL.
Pro.
CMLL, AAA?
Oh, whoa.
WXW? I don't know.
He is these
Well,
Zooms. I didn't know he. Oh,
That's how
WXW.
Bobby set me up there. Absolutely.
Zuber, a German last name. All right. Let's get to the next slide here.
Okay. Boy, let's do it. Okay, let's run into it. So, starting, I want to say 2021, you, myself, and Blake Murphy set out to award the best Canadian wrestler. This was born out of a campaign that I started in 2018, I do believe it was. Kenny Omega. Well, I remember Kenny Omega's 2018. He did like everything in the world, and I was
One of the
like,
best years for any wrestlers ever.
well, Canadian media gives out an award every year. It's now called the Northern Star Award. Used to be called, I forget,
The Lou
Lou
Marsh.
Marsh Trophy. Lou Marsh Trophy. Thank you very much. And it goes to the best athlete. Very important wording for me there. It was like to the best athlete in Canada that year. And my argument was, how can you not call Kenny Omega an athlete? You can have your opinion about the art form that he's competing in, but to not call him an athlete is like completely absurd. By that measure, there was nobody that had a resume anywhere close to this. There was an Olympic Games where nobody dominated. They gave it to a skier. Anyway, that bore from frustration for me, where I was like, well, a Canadian will never win it. Bret Hart never won it. No Canadians ever winning this. So we set out to right that wrong. We went back, you, myself, and Blake, 3-man panel, so that we could break ties, we could discuss it. We did 30 plus. I think we did like 34
Since
years.
the advent of WrestleMania.
Yeah, 85 to, so not more than 34. I think we did 36 years.
Yeah.
85 to 2001. Awarded them all, and then said we're going to start this new every year and debate this and figure this out, because it's an important thing to chronicle, in my opinion. And Canada has a really rich wrestling history. A lot of great wrestlers come from here. A lot of under-recognized wrestlers come from here, and we're both Canadian. It's a Canadian show. The Double Dudes is, so it's just something that we wanted to sort of make sure that someone was keeping track of, and a rare thing that we were going to take seriously. Very, very light. We wanted this to be one thing that was very serious, and just sort of documented and chronicled. So last year we introduced a media vote. I wanted to get the opinion of some people that were in sports media, in entertainment media, people that were talking about wrestling and treating wrestling with respect in legitimate media. I use that term lightly. Some podcasters, some writers, some people that are, some wrestling journalists. So this year it went out to 30 people, some folks that you may have heard of, some folks that you read, folks that cover other sports. We got basketball writers, baseball writers. We got, people that
Pro
are
wrestling
famous
writers.
Twitter personalities that do pro wrestling podcasts. So a giant panel of people voted on this year. Only 2 wrestlers. This was, a lot of people said, the hardest one they could think of, and I would agree with that.
Easy.
Only 2 wrestlers got votes. The entire thing was split between 2 guys, and they are within 1 vote of each other, which is pretty fitting, actually. I think when you talk about these 2 guys and the impact they've had on the modern pro wrestling, the only 2 wrestlers so far to receive votes, and so far, this is the end, I think, is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think it's very interesting, and it's a lot of study of contrasts and what you value, of course. And I think Owen stuff, I don't follow the company, but what I
Yeah.
can gather, the stuff is happening now and in the back half of the year, whereas Sammy's is a little more front loaded, and it's a little more the stuff that he was doing last year that trickled into the beginning of this year. There's a bunch of stuff throughout. Does that surprise you to hear that those two are basically your only vote getters?
So, yes, when it first hits the ears, it's surprising because I went through, and again, all those episodes are available behind the paywall. If you want to go hear Zoobs, Blake, and I, it's a two-parter. Go give out one of these awards throughout history. It's really fun to do and research. But then when you start thinking about who is outside of those two and who it could be, of course, I wrote down for this year Speedball Bailey, Christian, Chris Jericho, Kyle O'Reilly.
Chelsea Green
None
got
of
votes.
them.
Chelsea Green got
Sorry,
a vote. Chelsea Green got an honorable mention nod. I can't remember. Ethan Page technically
yeah,
got
Ethan
a
Page getting KO'd into the title. And so for me, it's only surprising in the way that it's surprising that there isn't a Canadian wrestler who isn't Kenny Omega at the top of the. So when Kenny Omega's injured, there's no de facto guy.
Yep.
Although I do think I gave it to Sami Zayn last year as well for
Yes,
his
we did.
Montreal
Narrowly,
run into.
narrowly beating out Christian, but the singular pop that he got was like, wow, this is the
They
biggest
got
thing.
me to watch what
any-
was it, Elimination Chamber or something?
Exactly right. We did a post show Elimination Chamber. In
Yeah,
case
yeah,
you
exactly
want.
right. You got
Like,
Zooms and I watching a New York
hard to
interview
believe.
and talking about it.
Hard
on
to
here.
believe.
Enough to give Sami Zayn the award last year. So it's surprising because, like you said, Canada does create Roddy Piper. You can go back as far as you want and find relevant Canadian wrestlers, but no, to this year, we need somebody to step up. Christian was sort of the closest, but there's some stuff I just really feel is cooled off. So I'm on the Kevin Owens train for this one too. I feel like it is. It's not a company I follow. I haven't seen a minute of his work, but every clip I see, he seems to be getting big reactions. He's involved in relevant top of card angles. He is against their top babyface consistently. And that's more than I can say for any other Canadian that I can think of this year.
Yeah, I have a quote here from Trevor Dame, who people probably follow for a number of reasons on the various text-based social mediums about his vote for Kevin Owens. Is Owens' work at the end of the year swing to I'm not a very big fan of modern WWE. I recognize they're doing incredible business, and from a promoting standpoint, they're doing a ton of things right. For my taste, just not a lot there. A lot of it annoys the crap out of me. So when I say about all that, just to say this, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes has been one of the best things I've seen all year. It's really surprising to even me. His promos and angle work have been so great. He's one of the best turns of any kind as a justified heel he's seen in recent years. It's been a reminder that given the chance and the material, he's just one of the best promo guys in the world, not just in Canada. Another great one from Nug Nargang, who you may remember from Aftermath, what used to go on when Rob was the only game on in town. He says simply, he has no weaknesses. He's done incredible character work, both broad and subtle. The latter very hard to do in pro wrestling. Some heavy words there.
Can't disagree. Matty Mack saying Davey Boy is probably the closest, which is damning. Yeah, keep an eye on Davey Boy for next year as the Triple Crown champ. But I agree, it's a default win. Like even Kevin Owens, he can't be too proud about winning this one. There was not a clear, and it was again split between two guys that so many people when they responded to us were like, I don't even really watch WWE, and I feel like it has to be one of these two guys because they're in prominent positions that people are reacting to, and that's a bar that no other Canadian wrestler is currently crossing. So,
talking the other side,
RL's right. He did hit a package pile driver. I saw that. That's wicked.
Yeah. On the Sami Zayn side of this, as I said, this vote is split and not officially decided quite yet. Blake Murphy from Sportsnet had this to say about Sami Zayn. In addition to being one of the more compelling promos and characters, he's been so instrumental as a storytelling device for WWE, which is hard to overlook. Working as a connector to all of their major storylines and feuds, he helps others get over and transition their programs from one thing to the other. WrestleMania, and this is the big one. This was the big difference, I think, in reading these reviews. People who voted for Sami were able to point to specific matches that they were pointing to. Owens was a little bit more like, I generally feel he's been really present, and we talk about again things that WWE is doing right.
Yeah,
I think this is an important conversation to have when we talk about how did WWE score high on this thing, and have no wrestlers on the best of list and have themselves in the bottom of list. I really think there is something to explore and learn here. And I'm interested at some point, maybe not right now, to get sort of your learnings from you went to like you going to a pay-per-view to me is like crazy sign for how hot that territory must. You went to a WWE pay-per-view this year. That's crazy to me. But you
I
know,
paid money, $35, but
still there's got to be something to learn here. It doesn't have to be applied necessarily, but what is going on right here? And I think Owens is an example of that, where it's like not following the company, not particularly interested in whatever it is. And I know that Owens is the focus of the company right now.
yeah, that's right. There's a
It's like
cultural awareness within the pro wrestling bubble about them that there isn't about other federations right now. Now, their cultural penetration is so much deeper just to begin with, but it felt like that gap was maybe closing at a point. And I do think it's very evocative of the system right now that I see Christian and I can't put him over Kevin Owens, who I don't see.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe there's a bit of that. We see so much of him, but for Sammy, it was pointing him towards the Gunther IC title match at WrestleMania. People pointed to as sort of like, and I will say, I think you're probably the same here. I were to list out pairings and matches from the WWE year and been like, what of this entices you that you blindly, you'd probably pick a Sammy and Gunther IC title match to end the longest streak in the history of
Well, I actually did go watch it.
of the belt. So there you go.
But he's too locked in with all that bloodline garbage that I don't like.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
see clips and he's got to be like, I'm Sammy Uso. And I'm like, ow. No, you're
Yeah,
not.
a lot of there was a lot of praise for Sammy, a lot of talking about the IC. Trying to get a good mix of people. I think when you talk to media, you're gonna get a little bit more WWE swag, which I think is important to offset, I think, a pretty AEW heavy audience that we have. But people that in years past would have only talked about AEW, everybody was mentioning WWE
I do
in
feel like it's
this
important to
poll.
note this channel, we covered a lot of the big 4 pay-per-views of WWE, always Mania and Rumble stuff on here. So we are AEW centric, but we have covered lots of that stuff too.
I don't think we did a ton of it this year, but it is
Yeah, not
worth
this
it.
year. This would be
It is
the
worth it.
least year for sure.
maybe we're what's propelling them. We're not there to like, be like hey, everybody, you
Without
know
us
this guy,
holding
right?
the lines saying, hey, this shit sucks.
Yeah, I think I mentioned all the other considerations. Josh Alexander got one as well. Mike Bailey, of course, Chelsea Green.
I was kind of surprised
Um,
Speedball didn't do a little better. I feel like getting signed and had like a good year, it's a tree in the woods situation with TNA, but
yeah, a bit of a TNA issue. Anyway, I'm happy to go with you. I think I'm happy to give it to Owens as well. Everything I've seen has been evocative of great entertainment. Using the rules we
why do
laid
I
out.
like doing that so much?
Me too. Yeah. They completely tied in the media poll, and I think some great points. But we went over and above and gave it to Sammy last year ourselves, and I think made the right call with that. And I think when you talk about what was like, it was clearly Sammy's year. It was clearly the year before that giant pop and that stuff. And like you said, a little bit too much of like just sort of thrown back into the bloodline stuff for me, where it's like I can see Owens's stuff and see what they're allowing him to do and see what he's always been able to do with any moment and acknowledge that it's like this is the top of the company to them right now. So yeah, I think that settles it. Congratulations, Kevin Owens. I think it's his third.
Congratulations, KO.
And to your point, I wanted to say, this happens in sports and this happens in this award before sometimes. Blake Murphy made a great point to me. He said sometimes the only thing harder than voting for MVP in a great year is it voting for MVP in a down year. We had a year where we had no choice but to give it to Bobby Roode. Like legitimately, this has happened before where everybody's hurt or nobody's in a Fed or Jericho's on tour.
And what's
like
his name? The tall All Japan Canadian, Phil
Oh,
Lafon?
yeah, Phil Lafon got
He
way
wins
back.
a year because it's just there's nothing. It must be like 90. It's like, well, this guy won the All Japan heavyweight tag titles. So
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
that's
The
someone.
matches were sick. What do you want?
Yeah. Then Brett
yeah.
shows up and it's just like, don't worry, I got the 90s.
Yeah, I know Kevin got his for that year that he showed up in NXT, and it was just like, holy Christ, what is
I
going on
might
here?
go
And then
listen to that episode. I never listened to our own stuff. I kind of want to
Yeah.
go. I've forgotten enough of it that I want to go hear us talk about it.
It's there's some really good stuff in there. When the three of us are talking about the early NXT years, the Sammy stuff, the Kevin stuff, because the Sammy, as always, the Sammy year happens right before, and it's like, wow, what an incredible year. And classically, Owens is like, that was a good year. Watch this.
Yeah.
Like, it's really great. And I think the three of us, I think we all know it, and we talk about him a lot. But getting that stage to just like literally sit for half an hour and be like, Bret Hart wins the next 5, and like what that means, and you were able to pick out. We did this in time, just a small sampling of it, of like all of the boom periods of it. It's just like, well, this guy worked with Bret Hart, and then the next thing he did was the biggest thing that ever happened in the business. It's like
It's so fun
he
to
was
follow that and like
it's
read
so
it.
cool.
And yeah, I really, the research for that episode was really fun. And you and
I
Blake
recommend
went
going back.
so deep.
Yeah, it was tons of fun, man. I'm glad we were able to record it and move this forward. More votes every single year. I'm excited. We did this last year, and I think Kyle O'Reilly was a sneaky pick. Do you have anybody on the mind that you think is the early favorite? I think I know mine.
Yeah, so as like a big underdog, Davy Boy would be one that I'm really excited by. Like All Japan putting it on a giant steroided up guy again is encouraging to me. But it's a good question out the gate. I don't think Christian
I'll
will.
go. Yeah, I'll go
Oh,
first.
Ed
I'll let you.
Choplin maybe.
Oh, I was gonna say I think it's going chalk. I think it's Kenny's year next year. I think Kenny's about to
Oh, what
have
am
the
I?
like.
Yeah, what the hell am I
I
talking
think Kenny's
about?
about to have the like I'm back fucking year. It's my
Yeah,
guess.
idiot answer by me. Definitely Kenny
It's hard.
Omega.
I sort of set you up to try to
No, no,
do a
no,
sleeper.
not at
I
all.
think
It's
I
right
think it's
there.
Kenny.
Yeah, you have to think Kenny, and starting out the year against Gabe Kidd is starting it out right.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyway, that's the Stu Hart. Thanks everybody for sitting and listening. And I know it's not the most, not the goofiest laughs out loud, but we 20 minutes a year we asked to take it deadly seriously, and now let's do, I think, the most dramatic category in this entire fucking thing, all the channel stats.
Oh my goodness. Let's settle in. This is for the real heads only. You can leave if you don't want to know the guts of this channel. And why would you if you're watching this somewhere else or after, or casual? It wouldn't be interesting. If you want to settle in, settle in.
This is I'll say this. I think Emote of the Year was the thing that I couldn't wait to click on.
You needed to know.
I needed to know.
I mean, emote of the year is steeped in drama.
We'll,
Steep.
we'll get there. Look at this, 250 hours stream. So there's people, and this is again, we were in the Wrestling Brain Discord, which is part of the Patreon, which is how you get to listen to the Stu Hart episodes. People were sharing their hours, and a bunch of people were 200 plus, and like that means that you saw everything we did. It means that you missed 1 hour a week total over the course of the entire year. That's bananas.
And when you look at the other Twitch shares, it's like we have such a people who like this love it. And
Yeah.
that's really nice. There's so many projects out there that are just like, oh, can somebody care about my thing? And people care about Wrestling Brain, and we care about Wrestling Brain. And it's nice that is not I never want to make it seem bigger than it is, because I always think that's so tacky, but it isn't nothing. This is not a zero thing,
Yeah, and I mean, the community is the thing that makes this more than one of those things.
Well, there's no question. Can you believe we did 118 streams?
That's one every 3 days somehow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense, right? You were there every Monday, we were there every Wednesday, and then you get a pay-per-view at one point every 4 weeks or
This
something.
is Nick fucking Gage.
Yeah,
and I want to
for
give a
parts
big
of that.
MDK shout out to my 2 gang members, Josh and Zoobs.
Thank you, Nick Gage. I'm going to be watching him return to CZW this weekend. Want to make myself sad. Yeah, 118 streams. It's because pay-per-view weekends we throw a Battle House in there, but yeah, I was like, man,
True,
we
Battle
were
House.
doing the damn thing.
Battle House, that's right.
Probably 4 or 5 Fridays in there.
Crazy.
All right, let's get to the next slide here. Show them the Twitch Wrapped.
Okay. 153 new subs, 43 hype trains, which is crazy. I mean, how many? Listen, there's only 52 weeks a year.
And we take 2 weeks off.
We took 2 weeks off. We almost got a hype train every single week on this show.
It's
That's
almost
crazy.
sadder to think that there were 7 we didn't get it on.
Amazing. 153 new subs. People very generous. This is a story of generosity. People would come and gift people. Somebody would show up for the first time, and they would get a gifted sub right away. Obviously, we know what the like hovering number of regular people who are here every week are, and a lot of people are very generous. A lot of it are very generous with their time and money.
Thank you, everyone. Up next, 115 days streamed on of the year.
So that means 3 of our streams we accidentally did twice. So still once every 3 days.
And total hours watched of those streams, Zoobs. This is the number that is staggering to me. 7,697 hours of content watched on the channel. That's crazy.
Bananas. And below it 38,000 chats. That's crazy. That's crazy.
People love to chat and we love to chat with them.
Yeah. What's that in chats per hour?
Oh
Crazy.
my God, that's a good question. I don't think there's any way to find out. They haven't invented that math yet, though.
People are crazy, man. People
They're
are
gonna
crazy.
have to invent the calculator too to figure that one out.
And a bunch of chats have happened since then. These stats came out when were people sharing their things? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's right.
So 2 more streams on the board. Another
I can't be the
1,000
only
chats.
one that's surprised they haven't put out the calculator too yet.
Well, yeah. None of my business.
Almost 40,000 chats. Oh, the channel emotes
Okay.
of the year, Zoobs. Talk us through it. The drama llama is here.
So this is the story of the year. I'll tell you this. I gasped out loud when I saw it. We've hidden the top 2 because it's so controversial. First and foremost, Jug. Jug had to have been out to, I tell you this, January, February, Jug was out to such a huge lead that it was like, oh man.
It was going to be year of the Jug.
It was going to be weird. The second half, we had to put Jug in the garage for a little bit and be like, okay, we got to build a show here. Otherwise,
Jug's too over. People don't want to
Jug
hear
was
us. They want to drink some more water.
Jug was our Cena Reigns sort of thing. Super Jug.
I was going to vote for Jug for the Stu Hart, but you know.
I think Jug is Swedish. Am I wrong, Josh?
No, Jug is Swedish. You're right, Zoobs, from IKEA.
Okay, keep people. We're very lucky. People keep and kick with regularity every week, and as people like to agree with Josh. No problem in there. I don't hate that for you. Kick obviously is. I think Kick is right behind this year. I think Kick is 6th. Let me know, Josh.
Absolutely.
You were 7th. So your push to get yourself up the card this year was pretty high. But I'll ask the chat before I reveal.
Yeah.
What does the chat think the top 2 emotes were?
And put them in order. What was the most and what
Yes,
was second?
Good call.
Most used, second most used.
Because this is the drama. T Dill is saying 2.9 in Brain. Matt and Kick says Zang Zone. Matt and 2.9 says LB19. 2.9 in Brain. So listen. Story of the year is unfolding in the chat. People that know that a lot of 2.9s happened. Care to explain? Because to me, reading this, the story of the year was WBCW. You didn't put up where we are at our top channels this year. You're the top recurring Fire Pro show.
We're the number one Fire Pro show on Twitch. That's not just something I say. Go click on Fire Pro World.
We have the badge. It came in our end of year thing. And to Slack's point, I've looked at the ones that are in the top 10% with you, and it's not even close to the production value and the effort and the interaction. So that's an awful lot of 2.9s in the chat. It's the year of WBCW, and I was going to say when you guys were waxing, the passion and love that you guys have for it is what makes me believe it could be a huge winner for us on a lot of platforms. Anyway.
Yeah, we're just getting started. But the dudes is just getting started too. This was a great year for the channel. We grew.
It really
Last year was a little stagnant. This year was steps forward.
I was in a pretty bad mood for a bunch of last year too.
That doesn't help. Although I think people love Grumpy Zoobs. Maybe
I know, but I was in the kind of bad mood where I didn't even want to play a character in a bad mood. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, I was in a bad mood, and I'm going to say that I think everything is fine, and not like, oh, the show's pretty good, and like give out 5.5 every week, and not actually getting anything. Anyway, keep 5th, Jug 4th, WBCW 3rd. Show us those top 2 emotes. 2.9 and the Mad Head.
I think LB had it.
A lot of people had it.
Fruits are Edible had it. Sludge Williams had it. Matt not in first though this year.
If not for 2.9, he would have been so far ahead.
But here's why, Zoobs. Here's why 2.9 won, okay?
Okay.
Chat, It is Monday night. Where would you rather be? That was a 2.9. Let 'em fly. It is Meltdown. And then
2.9s. Make them rain.
we love a big
That's so
kick out.
sick.
And we're it's not like John Gargano's out there making a 2.9 every 2 seconds in the match. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Oh, there. I was looking all over for the of the years. I'll give some of the lower card. I'll give you the rest of the top 10 here in just one
Yeah,
second.
sure, great. It does need to be said just how beloved Matt Prince is around the channel, and with good
Yeah.
your all of your love is not misplaced in Matt Prince. He's an actual great guy on this planet.
So the brain is 6th. Josh, you are 7th. Then Kick 8th. The glowing brain 9th. Tanahashi himself 10th. Come on 11th. Uncle Howdy 12th. And then finally we get to your boy 13th.
That was me last year, Zoobs. It feels bad, doesn't it? You got to start a
Slack, right?
campaign.
And basically identical to Slack. My number and Slack's number are right beside each other. You are double mine.
Yeah, but I had
Matt
to
is
beg. Let's be real. It wasn't. There was nothing
listen,
natural about it.
Your double mine, Matt, is 2.5 yours. It's we're all playing in a different playing field. I've made me realize we gotta have a Bobby on there. We gotta get a Bobby Burritos moto.
Bobby will get Matt numbers. Mark my word.
I think so. I think so too.
And again, no one's wrong in doing so. The producers are just we are such overqualified music and graphics.
I think about it all the time.
It's
How did we
hilarious how good Matt and Bobby make this stuff.
How did we possibly trip into such gifted creatives, like people who are just like so incredible at the two things that you could give me 10 years to learn, and I would never.
Oh, look at the shit that I make, how it looks on here.
Would never happen. I've been in
a dog a paintbrush, you're gonna get something nicer.
I've been in an industry where I had to make graphics for years, and it's like I cannot do anything but like basically scratch my forehead. Incredible. So yeah, thank you, Bobby. You are what an incredible piece of this channel you are and have become. And every week, the stuff that you're able to whip up on command is like unbelievable. And what can you say about Matt Prince? Look at him. Look at him on the scoreboard.
Matt is. You feel it when Matt's not on Double Dudes. And I like the Just Josh and Zoobs episodes, but it is hard to consider that the show for a large part of it run was just Zoobs and I. And the coming into a show with a very established duo and becoming a beloved third voice is so much harder than it probably seems to do. Like, it could have been a thing where people were like, hey, we tuned into the show because we want to hear Zoobs and Josh's banter. And this guy, if anything, keeps like purposefully derailing from getting us there. But he's so charming and so funny that it's harder. It's a tightrope to walk. And I think he does it masterfully.
And because, mainly because what he produces is like just like phenomenal.
Yeah, again,
unbelievable.
laughably above par.
It is the charm. It definitely is. He is a charming guy and has a pure heart and like deserves the adulation. It's also that like the thing that he's contributing to the show is like such high level, impossible to even comprehend talent that it's like staggering. I'm in awe of it constantly. So what an addition to the channel. It's the huge reason why I'm so optimistic. Like it's just like we got some stuff covered that nobody's even thinking of. That is like drives me.
I love it, man. Your optimism makes me feel optimistic.
Speaking from behind the glass too, I think it's important that you guys acknowledge that you're really, really good at this as well. You're always, kind of self-deprecating, but there was a long time ago I was a Nasty Casty, didn't even watch the Twitch stream, but I just loved hearing you guys break down what I saw the night before,
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Bobby. We might joke around, but I really think Zoobs and I are like, I think the Sword and Shield's a real thing. Like I really think Zoobs and I, and it's, some you watch some stuff on YouTube. I can't speak to Twitch, but I imagine this happens on Twitch too, where there's like, oh, everyone's best friends, and it's all like, but it's all kind of like fugazi and to like make everyone feel close in a fake way. It's like, Nope, Zoobs is just one of the closest people to me in my life, and we speak about really personal things all the time off air.
Yeah, we
And-
got to 1 a.m. last night.
Yeah, exactly right. Long after we hung up off air last night, we were just talking about our lives, and it's like I don't. I'm not saying every great show has to be people who are that, but I take pride in like we're not. There's nothing fake about the relationships on this show or like anything like that. Then so I appreciate you saying that, Bobby. I do think Zoobs and I are really a hell of a pairing in some ways.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I really do appreciate that. That's very meaningful. And yeah, I think I'm just happy about we got everything nailed down. The way that you guys, just hearing you guys talk about WBCW, I was like, oh my god, that's the show promo. You were trying to figure out how to get this thing promo. That's the show promo. Just YouTube opening your hearts up about how good the show is, because it's true.
Bobby, is it fair to say we've ramped up the effort over the last little? I don't even really know how long to say. Like, I don't know, 3
Year?
months ish.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say because we do more intentional builds.
Yeah,
Obviously, results are whatever the game gives us, but we have learned to roll with it a lot more. So I think that we're able to, we'll kind of give ourselves two paths, and whatever the game chooses, we know what we're going to do next. Whereas before, we were just kind of winging it. So I think that
you like go
it's
into the
stepped
dance
up.
like what would be cool guys to collide together.
Yeah,
And now it's like, and there are people who like Shinji and Grave Robber have been easy to build around because let's face it, they do just reliably win too. It like gives you something to, but I appreciate that, Zoobs. There's something around it.
We got to figure out how to monetize it, because you didn't put it in here, and I'll say the number. People have wagered 3.5 million channel points.
Did I not put that in there?
Unless it's next.
Oh, I pulled that screen. Is there a next
3.5
Bobby? Maybe not.
3.5
Then I bought.
million
Yeah, I definitely have that
channel
pulled.
points.
Yeah, if they were betting bits, oh yeah, I didn't. Sorry. Yeah, the amount
if
of
we
hang
could
on.
monetize that show at all, we would retire.
It is crazy. Yeah, we have to just start doing illegal gambling and be like, no, bet real money on this, folks.
We might have figured it out with the spin wheel, which is low quality roulette last week.
Yeah. Should we do that once before we go off air tonight?
No. Yeah. All 3.5 billion in the middle.
Really a wonderful year for Wrestling Brain. I love doing it, and it's it's just funny what you end up in. It's like, oh man, it's so funny to think that just in 2018 I was talking with Justin Morissette in his apartment, and I was just like, man, I can't walk away from this. This is as good if it's ever going to be, even though the show has challenges to getting done. And like Wrestling Brain years later is just, it's so much fun still, and it's so crazy. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, and so I hope it goes forever. Wrestling Brain.
Year 4 coming?
Yeah, year 4 coming.
Oh my god. Wow.
Man. Yeah. Wow. Well, hey. What can you say? Time she goes. They got a watch that slows down time.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what I'm saying. Wrestling Brain forever says.
But you got to put some effort into it.
Wow, you got to. That's our secret. We have producers that put some effort into it. All right. Bobby, what a year. Thank you so much for producing all this. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here for tonight?
I just had one question for you guys because
We do out of 7.
Okay, out of 7. We'll do it out of 7.
I think full 7.
there you go.
How crazy is that they do the 1 to 7 scale in the conglomeration?
Orange Cassidy gets it. He proves it over and over again.
Big time.
I think we had the same pick for this. I don't think we went over it in the slideshow, but I was going to ask you for finisher of the year, best finisher.
Oh yeah. So I should address that. Yeah. So finisher of the year, there was just nothing resembling a top 3.
Yeah, I figured it was just too spread out, right?
It was like legitimately an 11-way tie, and just didn't feel. It's like, okay, this isn't actually saying anything. But we can talk about our answers. Zoobs, do you have a favorite wrestling finisher? Or Bobby and I talked about it if you want a second to think about it.
Yeah, you guys, my gut is telling me that it's the Gunso bomb, which is
Yeah,
like that's the one that they've
That's what we
I was
both
just like,
picked.
"Whoa." murdered him. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's all of our picks.
Yeah.
It's the
And when
concept.
he ran with the sleeper for a little bit for finishes as well, and I was just like, oh, I think I love Brody King. I really do.
The sleeper could be it too for me, actually, Zoobs. You're smart to bring
So
that up.
sick. So sick.
Other ones that come to mind for me are Darby Allin's Last Supper, Kento Miyahara's German suplex, or sorry, straight jacket suplex. What else do I? Oh, the One Winged Angel. I mean, that's more booking than the actual move, but that still counts.
Jay Driller was
yeah.
really cool this year too. I think
Oh,
Mark doing it
Mark
for
Jay Driller. Yeah.
Finish
Yeah.
Yep.
Any of them that are dangerous. What else do you want? me to
Again,
say?
this is the issue with the exact issue with the category. I can see how it happens.
Yeah, exactly right. Zoobs, any closing comments? You got a lot off your chest there, and as did we. So I think we'll see you in the new year for AE Double Dudes. Monday, again, the Christmas special will be live on the Discord. And if you're watching this in the future, consider joining the Discord. Patreon.com/J0SHC. And at a minimum, go to twitch.tv/WrestlingBrain. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're giving your free Amazon Prime Twitch subscription to there. Back like a bad habit, but better than you've ever had it. Love and energy, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.